13. And we have do we do roll call?
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Ellis,
Present.
Councilmember Marroquin,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Camarena,
Present.
Mayor Crenshaw.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Very good. Can we stand for the flag salute, please? Sylvia, will you lead us, please?
Please place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marty, will you lead us in the invocation, please?
Should we pray? Thank you, Father, again for this great Savior, the Lord Jesus, making a way for sinners like us to be saved. And we thank you, Father, for this country. We thank you, Father, that we live in peace, relative peace. And we pray for help, Father, today. All of us gathered here, beautiful building. Again, no bombs going off, no shots ringing out. We pray for help in being able to work together to find the best solutions for our city going forward and be a good example for others as well. Pray for this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Seeing that we had no closed session, there will be no comments from council for that. Very well. This is the public comment section. The public may attend in person. Any member of the public attending in person and wishes to make a comment is asked to complete a slip. Although I don't think we have any, we do have one request. Follow the instructions below the notice of public. Any member will be invited to submit a public comment in advance of this meeting to be answered at the meeting. At this time, we have a public comment request by Gary Redford. Mr. Redford.
Chief, can you hand him your microphone, please? Yes. Mr. Redford, that one's not working for us, but the one Chief Brown is using, if you can hold that for us, please.
Test.
Is it working? Are we good with it? Is it working?
If it's not linking.
I think if we're quiet, we'll hear him too. So
Yes.
Yeah, there's the camera.
It's being.
Test.
Are we not going to hear it? Is it going to just?
No, just,
Well, I think
they're
I
gonna
can hear.
talk loud enough.
correct.
No,
I think it's for the
online
audio.
streaming.
Yeah, it's for the streaming.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Gary Redford, 225 Wake Avenue, number 178. Two matters, very brief. About 2 weeks ago, I contacted Councilmember Carter on social media regarding some questions I had about whether or not the city of El Centro was in negotiations with the data center developer to supply water. Okay. So she said she referred me to City Manager Sawyer and said that she would have him contact me, but I have not heard back on that. So Mr. Sawyer, if you might be able to get in touch with me on that, my contact information is on the sign-up sheet. Secondly, and the main reason I'm here today is the homeless camp situation on the I-8 corridor, east and west of 4th Street, is simply out of hand. And if this was just a camp with a tent and things like that, but these are garbage dumps. Yesterday when I was driving, I saw a man in the field behind Motel 6 defecating in broad daylight where anybody driving along can see it. So essentially my neighborhood is a public toilet, and I've had enough of it, and other people have too. You wouldn't tolerate it in your neighborhood. I shouldn't have to tolerate it in mine. But more than that, this area is one of the busiest, probably the busiest on-off ramp that we have in our city. It's our front yard. Is this the image we want people to see that come and go from here? Really? A toilet? Somebody defecating in broad daylight on the side of the freeway? And you got to know everybody uses the restroom, so this is not a one-off, right? But it's disgusting. Now, I called the city community development yesterday, and they said that regarding these camps that are south of I-8, west of 4th, they've been working since December with IID and the landowners. And I said, well, cite them. And she said, well, they did cite somebody. But whatever they're doing, and I understand, you know, I've worked with government. It's hard. You got a lot to do. There's myriad issues. And I don't diminish that at all. But whatever's being done isn't enough. Those places have been there for months. And I encourage you, if you have not driven there, go look at it. Because some of these camps, when they leave them, they leave the garbage. And, you know, if this is, and I contacted Caltrans about one I know was on there right away. And then the woman at the city development, community development told me that the landowner behind Motel 6, that vacant lot, that landowner has been pretty good about clearing them out. But that stretch that's south and west of 4th behind the car dealership and the hotels is horrible. It's as worse as I've ever seen anywhere. It's a garbage dump. And I don't know what's going on with that, but who's ever in charge of getting that done needs to do a better job. And I recommended, what I don't understand is with these encampments, is why you can't come in, declare them an uninhabitable dwelling, red tag them, and order them vacated immediately. Because that's what they did over here at the Roberta Hotel some years back when they had faulty electrical. Everybody had to be out in 12 hours because it was deemed unsafe and uninhabitable. Well, these dwellings are obviously uninhabitable. They don't have water, they don't have plumbing. And so I don't understand why, and I don't know if it would be county or city code enforcement, go in there, uninhabitable dwelling, red tag, you must vacate immediately, and then get somebody to clean them up. And somebody should go out and work with these property owners and get cooperation so that, hey, we don't have to go through the rigmarole, because you get rid of them and they come back. So if you got to go through all the processes again, but I'd say is work with these property owners and say, hey, look, let's just somehow make it, what do they call it, turnkey. So then we need to get these people out of here. It's all ready to go. And, you know, in the longer term, the city needs to find out something to do about these people, because I'm not insensitive to them. I understand everybody has somewhere to go. But like I said, these people are doing, you know, urinating and defecating in public places, garbage all over the place. I mean, these aren't nice little camps. And, you know, the city's got to do something about this, because, you know, it's bad for neighborhoods and it's a bad image for us. And I would really encourage you to do something. And I would hope that someone would be in touch with me, let me know what else might be done. One thing that I'm going to try to do is I wrote a letter yesterday that I'm going to hand out to some of the businesses in our area. And I'm going to see if there's any interest in creating like a neighborhood/business association, because in that case, those people can be a better ally with the cities. And I would encourage council members to do that in other neighborhoods that they're familiar with in the city, to create these little neighborhood associations, because they can be your eyes and ears, and and when you get people involved in things, there's better buy-in. Not everybody's, right now, the way it is, we're trying to fight this problem and everybody's kind of floating around the universe. So anyway, I could talk forever, but I won't. Anyway, thank you very much.
May I say something?
Yes.
I do apologize. The city manager and I were both out of town and I didn't get the message delivered. I take ownership for that, but thank you. Thank you for coming out and thank you for what you had to say.
And Mr. Redford, I don't think there's anyone here that disagrees with anything that you just said. And I will ask the city manager to follow up with you as soon as possible, and then we will have follow-ups with him.
Yeah, I know you guys work hard and there's a lot going on, but I've just noticed in the last couple months, this has gone beyond. And I know there's been efforts before to eradicate that, but whatever's been going on, it's just not working. So that's why I'm here to encourage you to say, hey, look it over and see what else can be done. Because I'm sure, got some good minds at this table here. I'm sure you guys and gals can figure out something. So,
We appreciate your time, sir. It is encouraged.
And anyway, I'll let you for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, no problem. I will get back to you and so will he. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to, there's no other comment? Okay. Excuse me. We'll move on to new business, which will be the city council workshop for the strategic goals and plan updates. Let me find out. So does everyone have a copy of the notes that were?
Yeah.
They should be, if you don't, Or-
I was told to just give to council.
Oh, okay.
I have some extras if anybody,
I can make copies.
I have extras.
Maybe we can share,
I think it's just good to have to follow along. So I think in this process, so I did a lot of studying of this plan that we have in front of us. The plan that's implemented now, that we're currently working off of. And one of the things that caught my eye at the beginning, and there's a lot of work that went into this. I'm sure most of you were all part of that. But the one thing that caught my eye and it was during COVID, I think that this kind of worked its way through that. But this was a 3-year march to get to the final product of this plan. And so understanding, and I was trying to do the math, it's a 5-year plan, 22 to 27, depending on when we're starting, when we're ending, is it 5 years, 6 years? But there should be an overlap anyhow. And I don't think there's going to be anything that is startling. Then the next thing that I saw about this plan, and there was these workshops involved in it, and then there was other items. We were mainly focused in on the last meeting on setting the 5 or 6 goals that to see if we were going to update the current goals we had. I had put a synopsis together. It reads basically towards the end of or mid to end of last year, Yale Central City Council began the process of updating the current 5-year strategic plan to reflect the newly elected council's vision of this for the city, to outline goals and objectives and provide clear direction to staff. Each council member was tasked with regarding their own, developing their own set of goals for the city in preparation to the upcoming strategic planning workshop. The purpose of the workshop was to collaborate thoughts and ideas with the hope of identifying relating goals groups in which we can expand upon. And I think the first part of that, the foundation part of that, was the goals that are already there in place. All of our projects so far have been goal-minded. They've had connections with the identified goals. They're going through finance. They're going through HR. They're going through the process with, when you do your staff reports, does it meet one of the goals? And obviously sometimes it not only meets one, sometimes it meets several, and that's listed in your staff report. So what I like to do at this point, and I know that it's, and I don't know, I see we have an easel. Do we have pens or do we want to?
There are some things.
Okay. So I'm not sure how we'll do this. But
Do we need a scribe?
Were we gonna, yeah,
Somebody was
we
gonna
could
write.
scribe. Are we gonna just do our top 5 and then be able to just?
well, that was kind of the thought, is going through the group, putting up what you saw as, and then seeing what ones we can marry together. I mean, I don't have we want to write this out, or would you
I
mind?
don't know how good my handwriting is, if you understand it, but I'll try.
I can guarantee it's bear in mind, especially vertically. So. Hate to put you on the spot like that, but we're putting you on the spot like that. So if I may start with Sonia, or do you want to start with you, or do you want to
You can come circle back.
circle back? Sylvia, do you have your goals kind of? You and I believe we're on this.
Yeah, and I've been, thinking about it, and it's mostly all minor components of what's already in place, and I believe I mentioned city beautification the last time around, city beautification in terms of, not only the city maintaining all of its properties, facilities, and so on, but also to get the residents to follow code enforcement rules, because as we travel throughout the residential streets, I mean, I cannot begin to tell you how much junk I see in people's yards and so on. And, that is where I think we need to do a better job of enforcing the ordinances and, that are in place. So this is along those lines.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and Marcel, just for, so the goal would be on the city beautification, the following the city ordinances and the code kind of feeds into that. So it's gonna sit up in there. And we had probably one of the best segues ever with Mr. Redford in here talking specifically about that. And, we didn't want to address that because it's public comment, but this is one of the things, and I've already spoke to our city attorney about these areas that fall between the cracks, and these areas are called Pacific Railroad,
Yes.
IID, and Caltrans.
And I so wanted to, to say that, but I know that we
No,
should not
yeah.
engage during public comment. But, one of the things that I've learned since I've been on the council is that, unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction over those properties that sit along, the railroad, to the sides of the railroad tracks, and the perimeter that's along the freeway. That is Caltrans property. And, this is where, and I believe I mentioned this the last time, that, collaboration between those two agencies, state and government, is where we really need to be more aggressive in terms of getting them to come in and do it. And I know that since the last meeting, I know that Pacific Railroad came in and did some cleanup, right? But, the problem is that, and like what happens here in the city of El Centro, our own public works department, spends, quite some time to clean up what happens within the city and the jurisdiction that we have. But, it takes time, it takes, resources, and, and unfortunately, these other agencies don't have local offices that we can just, say, hey, you know what, we want you to take care of your business. So it takes a lot of work to get these agencies to take ownership of the properties and clean them up. But unfortunately, as soon as we clean them up, they're back again. So, it's a recurring problem that I'm not sure, if we'll ever be able to eradicate, homelessness, because, a lot of these individuals don't want help. The ones that do want help, there are resources available for them, and we can, help guide them to us. And I know that the community relations unit does a really good job of interacting with many of these unsheltered individuals to try to, get them to, partake of the resources that are available to them, so that we can eventually help them, get off the street and back into society. Okay, so that's unfortunately, that's the truth about the issue that we face with homelessness.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we'll all have an opportunity to chime in on that. And I know the frustration is at staff level and beyond. When we're talking, when we're looking at goals, one of the things I wanted to make sure that we're looking at result-oriented goals. I mean, I don't want to have talking points, because then this meeting is about, and it's beautiful, we got coffee and stuff, but it's just going to be a frustrating year, or whatever years, if we don't have. One of the comments that I had brought to our city attorney is, what are other jurisdictions doing? And I brought this to the first meeting. Who solved homelessness? And it was crickets. I've looked up a great deal of research about it, and I'll discuss more when it's my turn. But one of the things I saw here was, what are the other jurisdictions doing that have a railroad through their place, that have Caltrans running through their place? And do we have, we can force private residents to clean up, but why don't we have, is there an ordinance that we can put together that it works for public entities? Because it's a blight on our city. And so that is something that just got kicked off. Hopefully I'll get some info on that. But I'm absolutely, and the word I hear is, it's not that we're not collaborating with them, it's that they don't care. It's not in their,
It's
it's not in their purview.
backyard. It's not in their backyard.
And,
you know,
and
And that's why,
Mr. Redford was 100%. I've gone to that very specific area, and I couldn't agree. And I brought that up to the city manager. That specifically area, that is one of the forefronts of our city. We're going to do murals and we're going to do all things because we want that to shine of what our city looks like. Unfortunately, that's the mural from Interstate 8 of what our city looks like. So, and not, I'm not preaching to the choir because I know that all of you understand that. But what do? We talked about how much time it takes to clean up. How much time, Abraham, would we, if you were to say, hey, I have 4 people, I could keep them busy 40 hours a week, every year with the cleanup, and probably even need more. But what do we actually, and my thought is, if I want to put you on the spot, but I'm kind of, what do you think we put in time per week to clean up stuff like this?
Right now,
With the resources we have?
we're doing looking for code enforcement, but we were doing once a week, 1 to twice a week already, so 8 to 16 hours per week for 3 individuals when we had the ARPA, and it made a little bit of a difference, but obviously the concerns and the complaints were always there still. So the typical is that we end up providing a schedule for them for cleanup, and we become the solid waste collection. So in terms of cleanups, we would go into the alleys. The individuals would get annoyed at us if we went too early because they didn't move their stuff away. We clean them up. Then they put in their garbage that they consider garbage for us to remove. We would clean it up, be out by the afternoon, and we'd be back.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking is how many people and how much time is that when we look at the future, what it's going to require to actually be result oriented. We're going to try to figure that out.
If the goal is for visibly less in the streets, I mean, it's just full-time staff just doing nothing but that.
There are entities, cities that are doing that. Now, I'm sure they have a lot more staff. But if we want to achieve that, we got to, that's why if we just sit here and go, God, I wish we could just do it. And then, we'll have this conversation next year. So, all right. Well, I want to give her goals.
So go ahead.
so my next is economic development. And, with growth, to the city comes also more demand for more resources. And I know that, growing to the south is also going to involve the placement and construction of a new fire department. So that is something that we've been talking about during the community enhancement task force meetings. It's just like, because, we're poising Imperial Avenue to the south for future economic development and residential development. But yet, we need to also consider the public safety element of that. And, and not only another fire station, but, also, in the future, I'm looking out into the future, maybe police substations within the city. I mean, we've got this brand new, beautiful facility, but this is the central hub. But if we keep growing out into the different perimeters, response time is going to be something critical to consider.
If we kicked out AMR, could police bunk with you guys over there?
Sir, please don't sleep on duty.
No.
So that's one of
Sorry, Chief.
Must have been a different profession than I was
You should know
in.
that.
So one of the things that we've had very preliminary talks about is having some space at Fire Station 4 that would act as a substation for the police department, some space for officers to go to write reports and take care of police business. So we may be able to capture that as well at the same time.
I don't want to get in front of Fire Station 4. 'Cause I'm still, just extending the hoses an extra couple miles, and we should be able to.
Yeah, and I know that is, for future planning, okay? Because we see, we're seeing growth to the north that's almost connected us to Imperial. So it's like, but in time, the south end of El Centro is going to look different. We've got the residential development that Marty Coyne is working on right now, and all of the interest into, some of the areas that are along the Imperial Avenue extension for economic development. And I know that that is going to generate some more sales tax revenues for us, but that may not be sufficient, to fund and sustain what we need to implement, as such as, infrastructure and public safety. So that's my second.
Okay.
Talking about infrastructure, and I know that I pointed this out last time. I know that Abraham has been, he's been expressing his concerns about the water wastewater plant and the need to improve the infrastructure and bring it, possibly even bring it up to date. So that's another goal. And I know that, Abraham, Adriana, Angel, they all work, as a team to find, funding sources for this, so that we don't have to tap into some of the, even some of the, my gosh, Angel and Abraham, what do they call the funds that, the wastewater, the enterprise funds, my mind goes blank, all of a sudden, but, those are the, the keys before we move along with economic development and growth of our city. We have to think about, is the infrastructure there to sustain, all of the future development and the growth of our city. So that's that my third.
That's your third.
That's my, and of course, all of that takes time and it takes money. Okay, so this is where, again, I know that we've been talking about how to generate more revenues, for the city, but again, I've mentioned that we have, with more economic development and businesses that generate sales tax, collect sales tax, and generate revenues for us, that is a part of it. But I know, and going after, grant funding is very restrictive, so that's not always, the best route, even though it has provided us with some beautiful facilities here in the city of El Centro, so that's, but we also have to think about our financial stability and, where we're going in the future. And I know that, Andy has really helped us in developing that 5-year plan and the outlook and the forecast of, where we are, where we're going. But, that it has to be continuous, so again, bringing in new sources of revenue in order to be able to fund and sustain, future projects. And, we can't ignore the fact that, we live in the desert. It gets extremely hot here. And, these are, in the summer, I know that we're faced with, providing cooling stations for individuals that are unsheltered. This is something that, in collaboration with the county, maybe we can work with them to, provide different locations, throughout the city at facilities that maybe belong to them. We don't have, we've seen what's happened when we open up our facilities, and it brings in a lot of destruction, to our facilities, and but I think that if we were to, collaborate and find some common space that we can provide for as cooling stations during the summer, I think that would be, something that, again, I'm not looking into I'm looking at as an immediate, more short-term goal. So.
Well,
Okay.
that would probably fall under a project versus, it would fall under a subtitle of a goal, so.
Yeah, and you know what? That's it for me right now. Those are my top
Okay.
concerns in terms of our goals. I think I just have to commend Adriana and all of her team for, my gosh, the array of summer programs and the events that are held at the all of our different recreation facilities for, you know, the youth, not only throughout the school year but also during the summer, you know, because
The
we
library too, they do a lot of cool stuff.
pardon.
The library does a lot of cool stuff
And
too.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know what? I can't. It's just that I always think of as a whole. You know, I'm sorry. You know, but the library, you're right. You know, it's just like, my gosh. You know, to the point that we've got people on waiting lists. You know, because they're coming in from other cities and towns throughout the valley. You know, to partake of our activities here in the city. But you know what? I just
We're fortunate.
I just commend them for all of their the creativity of all of the different programs that they offer, not only, you know, throughout our other facilities, but at the library. My gosh, you know, I know that I mentioned that the other day, you know, when it was the recognition for
Yes.
for library week, you know. So, but anyway,
All right.
that's
Thank you. Marty?
I don't think I'm gonna throw up anything new on the board. Obviously, infrastructure looking forward, going south of the freeway is gonna be a big issue, as well as, infrastructure as well as economic development and drawing businesses and being able to afford, you know, things like that. That is all big. But I think today, there's only one thing I'm gonna put up on the board, and that is what we only have like 7 months until Veterans Day. And so it's relatively short time. And this is our 250th anniversary of our country and 175th of California, I believe. And it's not gonna happen again. And we need to do something. We need to make a splash. So we don't have much time to plan, and we have to deal with, you know, resources. We're gonna add something extra to our budget and things like that. So it's gonna be hard to squeeze in, but we need to do something. So that's the only thing I would throw up on the board in this. But as far as getting something done today, I think that, you know, what is gonna take up some time and
Well-
collaboration is gonna be homeless.
So, and I
Homeless
want
issue.
to, and you brought up good projects, Sylvia brought up projects, but I think that the purpose of this is the duration of goals. What, you know, because every one of, you know, staff is here to give us input. Every one of us they're going to do staff reports based on these set goals. That's what they've been doing. And it seems like right now that they're kind of falling in line with what's already in place.
Yes.
And that's good because those are all good goals. We may or may not be making tweaks to them and changes. Projects, we absolutely have to. We have a budget that's coming up. We'll need to add what we need. We'll run that through the budget committee, the whole thing. But your goals are kind of what you're saying, if I understand right, more just in line with either what Sylvia or what we already have previously.
Yes.
Okay.
But probably today, I'm thinking that the homeless issue is gonna be one of the top issues.
Okay. Well, so that would be
Yes.
an issue that we want to go ahead and put that as a homelessness as a goal. And obviously when you're talking about it is trying to find a solve and, you know, creative ways of assisting these people, both long-term and short-term, I'd imagine.
Yes.
Okay.
There are answers out there, and Claudia and Sonia probably speak to that more.
Okay. Well, let's have Sonia.
Well, I was, excuse me, I'm under the weather, but beautification was my first one, and then I switched it because it always boils back to hiring staff. We definitely need to hire staff in order for us to move forward in a lot of areas. In order for us to start with the beautification, in order for us to keep the homeless, you know, the streets taken care of, it's gonna take more staff. Everything we look at, it's gonna take more staff. In order for us to grow, we're gonna have to have new jobs here. And, you know, I think that's been a lot of issues, because I talked to a lot of my ex-students and they're like, I'm out of here after I graduate because there's no jobs here. You know, it's just it's a hurt here. And, you know, why come back? And I'm like, no, give it an opportunity. And, So I think that we do need to work on the economic development and the growing of the job area with financial resources. Of course, I know everything takes money and it takes budget, but I think that was about it. And the homeless, I agree, that's going to be a big issue, so I won't even elaborate on that. But the veterans facility, I think that's something that Claudia's been working on, and I think that's about it. Excuse me, though. I'm sorry. Go
You
ahead.
okay?
Yeah,
No, she's safe.
I'm good.
You want to stay here, Claudia, or are you gonna get sick, or?
No, it's not. They
Okay.
told me it was from me traveling. It's just different. It was 15 degrees over there. We don't see that.
Where you go? Okay, Claudia?
Well, I wanted to just touch on a little bit about what Marty said about the celebration, and I just want to get a clarification from staff or Robert, because I know that when we're asking for events and stuff, we were told that this is where we were going to discuss adding events and so forth like that, and so I'll concur with Marty about having to have the 250 on ASAP, and if this isn't the place, where do we do that? Because last time we had met last year, and I think I don't know if it was about this time, but we did it. And because I know that when we ask for stuff, when we've asked through the year, it's been like, well, we don't have direction. So what are we doing right now? Are we giving direction for daily thing? Or are we just putting up our goal?
Well, this is
Oh, I was asking Robert.
So my hope at the end of this, once we've heard kind of what the goals are, and so recreation and entertainment, quality of life, I think a lot of our special events fall into that. You look at the events on Main Street in the downtown area. We look at all the key events that we have. So we're coming up on budget preparation, and we're working feverishly to try to get that done. And one of the things that would assist us as staff is to be able to have some ideas. What are your goals? And where's your mindset for, say, for example, the 250th, for special events next year? Because we have certain things that are budgeted now. Our goal is to get this budget wrapped up as quickly as we can to you for review and guidance. And I don't want to make this a budget workshop, but this is kind of where we need some direction as to what are your goals for the next 12 months. And if council as a whole says our goals are to have certain events and everything else, then we can work with that within the budget. Where it becomes very difficult is once the budget's adopted and approved, and none of that was taken into consideration, no direction was given. Then we have to figure out, okay, we don't have enough of the budget to make this work. We adopted a balanced budget, where we go out for the additional cost.
Right.
So
is
can
that
we look
something
at
that we
for a
can
date?
do now?
Now that's what I'm saying.
I'm not running the meeting, but I will tell you that it would be helpful to have some of that information before the end of the day.
Okay.
So, and just to be clear, it was my understanding this is a goals, and then when you look at the goals and we start setting down into the projects of those goals, we identify. No one here writes their staff reports off a project. They write it off the goals that we set. There were 6 set in this last strategic plan. That was my idea. That was my understanding what this meeting was about. And then we certainly can bring a budget workshop information, because when we're talking about specific projects, specific things that we want to do, that has to be worked into the finance part of it. And this is a good forum for that.
Yes.
But I think if we put projects before we actually identify the main goals, I think it gets convoluted. That's why I was trying to do it in an order that we identify some like-minded goals here that everyone can, and then we start filling in the bottom with the projects and some of the other stuff.
I just wanted to make a clarification that we would circle back to that, because I don't want to leave this
Yes.
meeting and not have those type of items addressed, because we're going to be done with setting our goals right now. And so then we can get into the nuts and bolts of what's actually needed. So that way we're all on the same page when we're going forward as far as activities and budgeting and so forth. So we don't have issues that came up last year.
So, and I was basing it on our last one, where we actually identify the goals and then our actions are to follow. So that's kind of why you're absolutely right. This is a 4-hour meeting, and we might be done with goals in about 15 minutes.
Right.
and then we can move on to the next one.
Okay. So for myself, I'd just like to state that, one of them touched on it last night. In order for us to be able to build a strong tower, we need a strong foundation. And that foundation's a little weak right now based on the lack of staff that we have. And, it's not only, difficult for them to achieve their task, but also maybe, unattainable goals that they've been given because there's only so many hands in a day and hours in a day. And so then that comes back and affects our staff and morale and so forth when we're asking for accountability with not enough hands on deck. So the most important thing first, in order for us to be able to even, in my opinion, implement, successfully anything is to make sure that our foundation is strong. And that's not going to happen unless we're able to incentivize and bring in more monies through various ways to increase our staff and give them the proper tools and numbers in every department to do what they need to do for our residents. I know people say about the salaries for our employees and so forth, but our employees are public servants. We all are, and we serve them. And so that money that comes in, it's to serve each and every one of our residents. And when the quality of the service is affected, we have to look at that, not just as a council and as employees, but as a city, including residents, because we all work hand in hand together. So they become part of the solution in helping us find a remedy to be able to make this happen for us and increase this for the probability of increasing our staff, which increases job opportunities locally for our residents. So that would be the first thing that I look at. The second thing would be the economic development. I'm really proud of our staff for doing the business incentives and working collaboratively with the businesses and so forth to get that out. And I think that we're ready to be able to take that to a larger scale now and to be able to look at some larger companies and so forth and try to win them into our region. I know that it had been announced earlier that Sam's Club was going to come, but they're not. And maybe those are things that we can go back and see. It was my understanding that there was a request for incentive. I'm not sure about that. But if there was, let's work with not just them, but anyone else that would be willing to listen to us, that El Centro is open for business. We want to be able to offer what we can to incentivize and bring those businesses here. Along with the business, we need to increase our housing opportunities. The housing opportunity goes hand in hand with that because then you have individuals who may want to move closer into the city, live in the city that they work in, and also people from outer areas that are just looking for a new way of life. So to bring that up, we also have to address those that do not have housing. So that would be the homeless situation that we have. One of the problems that I think the city has had, or that I understand has had, is that there hasn't been an agreement for a shelter or a night shelter to be done in the city of El Centro. I think it's been more of a, if you build it, they will come, and nobody wanted allegedly to be a part of that. But everyone knows they're here already. It's not they will come, they are here. And what are we going to do with those individuals? Whether I hear people say that a number of them are not from the city, and that they're from out of town that came from different rehabs and so forth. But I and a number of other council members cruise that area a lot and look, and those people are people that, a number of them that are from this area. They do live here. And not everybody there is homeless. They hang around and they have a place to go at night and so forth, but there are some that are. And I think it's vital that in a city that used to house the House of Hope and have that shelter, that had Calexico down the street, the Guadalupe Men's Shelter, and have that one. And then to see those fine shelters close was a hit to our community. And I think it's our responsibility to be able to see, one, I don't know, and maybe someone else knows here, why those closed. And if there's something that we can do as a city to be able to help that entity that already knew what they were doing and how to provide service to be able to open up again. And if not, that we would work with others who are actively seeking to be a part of some type of shelter and see what we can do with that. Because we need to be not just wondering how we're going to do it, but acting. Because if we don't take action, we're going to be here the next, couple of years and still doing the same thing. Now, will they all automatically be housed? No. But will we be able to provide the opportunity for them to take advantage if they want it? Yes. And as long as we provide that opportunity, then that's what we need to do, at least to help them. What number was that? Four. And let me see, staff. I think the beautification, we've touched on that, and we've touched on it before. The Evan Hughes entry into El Centro. I know Angel spoke that on Cross. You guys are making some improvements on that coming into El Centro, the Cross Road and so forth. We also have the Dogwood area. If we want to attract businesses, I agree. You're going down Highway 8 and you're looking on both sides, and it's not very nice to look at. So we want to be able to develop those areas, develop quickly, so that way we can make a better presentation of our city in that way. And I'll then just throw one in real quick, and that's going to be recreation for families and youth. I know that Adriana shared with me about an idea that she had about roller rink and so forth, and I think it's
The roller rink was you.
well.
I gave you a venue.
She gave me the venue, but we had spoken on it. But I won't say where, but it's already built, so that would be great if we could pull it off. But not just that, a regional sports complex so that El Centro can host Pop Warner, Little League. We have those all around us. Even Mexicali has a giant complex. Yuma has one, of course, all the San Diego area, and you go into Riverside, and we could be a hub for them instead of having to travel all the way, either way, to San Diego, Arizona, or into Mexico. If we can catch them here and we can host, we have hotels, we have restaurants. If we can build something that's right, I would say right over the overpass over here in that area around the mall somewhere, we would be able to have a beautiful area where people would be able to see that we have a nice complex, you have hotels, and you can host all kinds of events there. And so it would cost, of course, to build, but I think the rewards would be more satisfying than any cost that we could pin on that. And I think that's all I have.
Shall we go to the next part? Which is fine. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. So, okay. Well, thank you. My strategic goals, I have outlines for everything. I have plans and thoughts and everything, but that's for another part of this. Employee wellness is a strategic plan of mine, and it has a variety of tentacles to that. You can put a check mark to city beautification with a caveat to maintenance of what we already have. So the problem is we want growth, but we also need to be able to take care of what we are already doing. My third one is public safety. That would be, and there's different facets to that: police, fire, and then also some environmental ideas with public safety, dealing with school zones and some of the other things. So I'll share that as we move forward. City growth, and that would be all three zones, which would be commercial, residential, and recreational. And that's been spoke of in different variety of groups here. And finally, my last one is the city fiscal health and sustainability of the city, our financials, and short term and long term. One of the reasons I bring all five of these forward is a lot of us want to move forward with hoping that a tax initiative goes forward and we can achieve a lot of the objectives within these goals but it's going to take that type of funding to do so. But with the ones that I have, and I think most of them, where's the bar at? And we have to understand that if this is all we can do with what we have, then that's all we can do with what we have. So we'll do the best, and that's what we've all been doing. We'll do the best what we can with what we have. But it has to be, I don't want to keep doing something that's not working. Let's not be married to that. If it's not working, get rid of it, and let's tweak it. Let's try to do something a little bit different. But all these goals are allowed to be able to do it today or next January if the tax initiative comes forward and we're able to, find the funding that would create the services needed to get this done. So I want to make sure that it had the ability to survive. Our goals had the ability to survive if the tax initiative doesn't. And so, for that, I think that outlines that. I would like to get any input at this time from staff. If you saw something that we're missing, or if you saw something that you have found difficult to achieve, the goal just is too vague or not definitive enough, I guess, with that, because I know that when we put staff reports together, sometimes it's hard to fit that square peg into that round hole. So does staff have any input at this time for those items?
It's kind of a loaded question.
It is. So shoot
I mean,
it.
we have a lot of input, but I don't know if you want to hear all of it. No, I think generally just consensus on the more difficult items. I think for the council, for example, an emergency shelter, that it could take different shapes and forms, right? We could do veterans housing, we could do a night shelter, and just having consensus and better direction and clarity so that we can pursue funding. We had a meeting today with reps for vets, led by Councilmember Camarena, and one of the things that was brought to mind was housing for veterans. And I looked at the Home Key website, and that's an eligible activity, right? But in order for us to move forward with writing something like that, we would need direction from our city manager. Hey, this is something we do want to pursue. And if this is today's goal or if it's a goal for the next year, that level of direction would also be helppful. The other thing is for the tax initiative, which we all agree that I think more money would help us get more staff and the other things. We're going to have the children's fair this weekend where we have thousands of visitors. Whatever level of marketing that we can do to promote something like our tax initiative, that's a great opportunity. And I don't know what the parameters are for us to be able to share information with the public. And so that would be really helpful for us, even just get a little bit direction on that, because we all think that an additional sales tax initiative would be phenomenal for our city.
Well, I think, and we are exploring that as of right now. We haven't sent a go yet,
Okay.
but it's certainly on the horizon. So
Yeah, and those are, I think, for us, like a little bit clearer on what type and where are we going, and the time frame would be really helpful.
So I truly believe that this will be the second part of this meeting, is to kind of start talking through some of these goals and how to get there, how to get what you're saying. It's horrible when you're trying to say, hey, I want to get done what you guys want to get done, but I'm not sure what you're saying. So,
and also the level of cohesion, right? Making sure that there is consensus on the items, that we're not pursuing individual, requests, but also like that everybody is okay with the request.
Or at least 3-2.
Oh, 3, yeah, well, yeah. We
So-
love 5 zeros, but
So there has been conversation, and it should be clear by this point in time, that when we go out as committees, when we go out and we speak, and I try to do it every time that I do it, and I think we all do, is, hey, look, this is me. I'll take it back to us, and how that lands, it lands. And you're absolutely right. If it's anything over 3, it's a go. But until committees are not made for directions, committees are made for informational forward and back. So that's what the council's made for, is to give the direction. So we will try to work within that parameter so it's not confusing for everyone. And then we will work it through our city manager and make sure that anything that needs to run through legal gets tagged, and then we'll make decisions. And then when you get, I think it's agreed upon that when the city manager gives you the green light, that's your time. So unless I missed anything, does anyone disagree with that?
No, but I think we need to, that's another thing that we need to do is update the procedures, policies and so forth. So there's some more clear language regarding ad hocs and standing committees and so forth like that, so that everyone understands what they're a part of as far as council. And then that they understand exactly what you said, that it's in writing.
But not this meeting or?
No.
Oh,
I mean, eventually it has to be done.
No, absolutely.
At the HR level.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want, I know that we have some agendas that we want to get done.
Yeah.
So, Robert, do you have anything that you would like to add at this point?
No, I think that Adriana said it very well. Each of you individually have a desire to improve the city, and each of you have your own personal way to do that, bring that uniqueness to the table. Where we benefit is the combined efforts of everybody. But with that uniqueness sometimes comes confusion. So that's kind of what my hope here is to find a consensus. You know, and Claudia mentioned it doesn't take 5 votes, it takes 3. But as long as that consensus is there, so we know that we're marching in the right direction, that'll be extremely beneficial to all of us. So I think everyone in this room, I will say, I know everybody in this room cares deeply about the city, about the citizens, and about our jobs and the service to the community. But sometimes, and we've witnessed it, you know, with changing councils, there's different priorities, there's different levels of priority, and there's different ideas. So this consensus and this goal setting, hearing each of you basically are echoing each other for your goals. Now we need to, you know, flesh out the projects and everything else. Very beneficial, at least to me, to be able to have conversations and get guidance. Just that.
So I will say that in parallel, whenever we have new department heads, some of your staff will feel exactly the same, that your new department heads have different goals and different directions and stuff. So here's one thing that I want to be very clear about. You guys can all leave here and talk amongst yourselves all you can. We can't. That has been the biggest mind-blowing part of this Brown Act thing, is we have to have this to even have a discussion in an open forum, more than 2 people. So it is beyond frustrating we should be able to lock ourselves in a room for 8 hours and come out with a bunch of great ideas and then hand them out. But we can't and we haven't. So we're using these type of forums to make that happen. So it is a little bit of a difference that we can't have that open conversation. So you kind of like, why can't they just get it together? We are. We're together right now.
This is the process.
This is the process. So I think that we've put quite a few up there. I think a lot of it is mirrored to what. Does anyone see one up there that they would have a difficulty creating any type of staff report to, that you couldn't match what your department does to the goal?
Well,
Some of them are projects, by the way, but
I think I'll just speak up about that, because I think everybody here is looking and saying, we agree with everything that's on there. How do you get to some point where you feel like you're being successful in working that goal and that project is going to be extremely difficult, as was discussed when it comes to the homeless population.
So this,
What are the wins that we're looking for as a council that the staff can work towards, whether it's, you know, do we continue working towards strictly veterans housing? We look at an overnight shelter. What are the goals and directions of that? And then what are the measurables in return that we can bring to you within the next 12 to 18 months
So, and that's the next part of this meeting is to outline the objectives. Because again, I love what that lady said. I mean, if there was nothing else I got out of that was basically that a goal without a plan is just a wish. And so if we don't have objectives to this, what is it that we're trying to hit in each one? And then timelines, because I also saw in this last one that there were some timelines, like in the first 18 months, year 2 to 3, and the 5-year, the bigger continuous work on that. So, but that, again, we're trying to categorize it. So now we're going into the objectives. As I said, I have a 6-page, 7-page. We all have notes about how we're going to want to carry out some of these. And I will tell you that I differ from some of my colleagues here in regards to how we're going to carry this out. So this is where,
The rubber meets the road, sir.
God, I was going to say it, but there it is. So, so should we pick, and I haven't been through one of these, so maybe you guys who have, typically would you pick the top 6, or do we marry these up and say, okay, we found our goals? Do we go?
Well, so I think some of these fall within broader terms, as you can kind of see what was done in the prior goal setting.
Right.
So we can combine a number of these. Quality of life issues can be combined generally under one heading. Really what was presented today is not very much different than what's in our current plan,
Right.
which is quite honestly very, very good to hear that we're already kind of working in that direction.
Yes.
Now it's the fine tuning. So, Mayor, it's up to you on how you'd like to pursue. We can work straight off the list and say, what are deliverables for 1 through 14 here? And then as staff, we can come back and create kind of a consensus report and work on how we word this and how we put it together for review, to council.
Well, the biggest concern is hiring staff. That's where we need to start at, because
And that's something that, so, the tax initiative was mentioned a little bit earlier. I want to make sure that I don't speak legally.
Yeah.
But we have a need for additional income within the city of Centro. And while we're doing well financially, we don't have the resources when it comes to staffing to be able to provide the service that our community needs. And, council has taken a very proactive step to look to remedy that, and more on that to come, right? But what we're hopeful is that in the next 8 to 10 months, we'll be able to start seeing some income that will allow us to increase those services, both at the personnel side of things, but also the level of service and quality of service that we provide. So if we're saying, let's address homeless encampments, understand what that means today is we're pulling public works away from filling potholes. We're pulling away from cutting down overgrowth within the city. The beautification side is going to take a hit because there's a trade-off.
I agree.
So I think maybe if we look at, when we're looking at these, and we think, okay, what can we do immediately? And then what is kind of a 12-month down the road and an 18-month vision? I don't know if that's what council thinks or not, but I would say if we say let's go out and solve homelessness, we're all going to look at each other and say we can't do that.
Yeah.
But what are the deliverables that we can meet in some of these areas?
So the other thing is recognizing, how do we get here? How long have we kicked this can down the road that our services are inadequate? The growth continued. We were in a hurry to grow. We just didn't follow up with that. And the reason I want to answer how we got here is to keep us from continuing that cycle. So, and right now, public services is where I think all 5 of us really agree on. I would like to see you have this many more, and you have this many more, and you have some more. And every one of you, with the expectation that we solved those. But again, I wanted to make sure that we put together goals that if we failed to get the funding this go round, that we could at least continue to move. And since they're in line with what we already have, I think We just continue what we're doing. So
Until we get staff, I'm sure it's been done before, or maybe it was and ceased for a reason, I don't know, but what about utilizing the inmates, like to assist us with cleaning the city and so forth?
So maybe the chief can speak on that a little bit. I will tell you, that program has been off and on in terms of the availability. During COVID, for example, it was dismantled. I don't know if they're currently operating. When I first started, they were washing our cars for us.
Yeah,
So 30 years ago, but
we used to pick up 3 of them, trustees,
And trustees,
every
Oh,
morning.
really?
like I'm thinking about like assist with the cleaning and so forth like
last
that of the
night our
city.
staffing levels didn't allow for that. But chief, do you have any?
Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot of information on it. I can follow up with the sheriff and to see what the applicable laws would be, and I can get some more answers for you, in the coming weeks. But I know that it's not a common practice, or as common of a practice as it used to be.
Okay.
So, and I don't know why that died off. But I can
Maybe there's
certainly find out.
liability.
Some of it was staffing, and some of it was programmatic.
That would be
I
very
can-
helpful.
I can add to that.
So Abraham had more.
So we had that program also about 10, 15 years ago. We resurrected it just before COVID. And it was complex. It requires dedicated staff at the sheriff's office and dedicated staff at Public Works. It requires a contract, an MOU between us and the county, where we participate or maybe assist in providing vehicle, tools, equipment for the inmates. And they have somebody supervising the inmates while they're out there. So they can't just be out there by their own.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to be supervised. There's a cost component to it as well, and there's payment to them as well. So it's a program. I think the individual that was in charge of that program, it's retired, and that's kind of that together with COVID stopped it at the time. It's helpful, but it doesn't. It still requires staff. Even adding people requires supervision as well. So no matter
The
what we do, it
supervision
it
was
still
from
requires.
sheriff?
Yes.
And together with our streets, because we would be providing the work for them to do our streets and providing equipment when needed. So it still took our existing staff away to help that added staff, because they don't have the skills, they through the training, so they are a lot slower, and then they vary in rotation and skills. So you're constantly training. So yes, it helps to some extent, not as we would. It's not a full force multiplier in full effect, because you're always working with a new person.
So one of the things that I will be bringing forward in the budget process for your consideration is there's a nonprofit within the city of El Centro that offers very similar services at a nominal fee compared to what staff costs would be.
Is that
So
what
that'll be-
Pastor Nan?
I'm sorry?
Is that the one with Pastor Nan?
Yes.
Yes.
So that'll be
That's
brought
what-
forward for council's consideration as part of the budget process.
Thank
And
you.
that would be a force multiplier in terms of minimum of 3 staff members, 3 days a week. They get a nominal fee because they don't have the requirements that we do as a city. And so forth.
All right.
So we do have some of that plan to bring forward. And the hopes of that is to be able to kind of clear up some of public works, to be able to focus on filling potholes and taking care of those issues.
Okay.
That was gonna be my question, Abraham. We'll talk about the cost. What's the cost to us to get 3 guys?
Permanent or as part of this program?
As, from the inmates, the trustees.
I don't know that it's available is the biggest concern.
Yes.
So providing it's available, we'll have to look at MOUs and have those conversations. I caught the chief of his mouth.
Right, but I'm just wondering about, what is it gonna, if it was possible, what would it cost
I
us?
would have to come back to you and look at the previous agreements, and that'd be a starting point. Whether they can do it right now, it's another story. It was mentioned.
Probably because it's been out of place for a while.
So,
Maybe
it's well over
the-
10 years old.
Things
Yeah,
have changed.
and what I can tell you, Councilman, is traditionally, the sheriff's department has provided services to all valley agencies as part of a partnership, and they have kind of pulled back on that and they're now charging us for those services that they used to provide. So I can only imagine that this would be an increase as well, trying to recoup the cost to the department.
Because
So-
it costs them.
I'm sorry?
It costs them. They have to have,
Absolutely, yeah. So-
they have to have officers and supervision and all that.
And with the MOU, the past MOUs, we're talking about salaries increasing, and they're gonna charge us for, the cost of their employees and stuff. So we would have to just go back to them to determine what the cost would be.
So being mindful of this budget, and I know that it's already been kind of explained that everyone's putting in what they're looking for from their departments, and there's positions that are being requested. And, we have a twofold going that, and I know that it's kind of moving at a snail's pace, but hopefully we're going to pick up some traction in the next couple of weeks, that we're trying to bring our current staff into an area as far as compensation that is satisfactory. With that being said, there was a look and a evaluation of our funding and how we could do that. But that doesn't really leave an open funding source for July 1 moving forward. This is one of the reasons why these other funding sources are being explored. So when we're saying, hey, look, we're not going to be, are we going to be able to knock that out July 1? Maybe not. If we find other funding sources and we can move forward with it, it's a good exercise to do because you've already identified your needs. But it may be a mid-year issue than it is at the beginning of the fiscal year. And then I also just want to put, look, if we did, there are little helps to have 3 people come, but it's not going to solve any of this problem. For the 30%, it may help us. It's going to create another 15 or 20% of a problem to get them here and pay for them and some of the other things that come with this. So, but now we can move into, I guess, the conversations of how to detail these goals down. So you guys can have objectives to meet, I would imagine.
I think another one that you can consider in terms of beautification is we work with numerous landscaping firms, and we could add that into their scope of work. In the past, that's also been an avenue aside from just hiring staff, but augmenting, boots on the ground through contracts. And so that's another opportunity. We have refrained from including, street right-of-ways because there is a little bit more of like traffic control that we need to do, but that's another option for city beautification that we could consider.
Definitely, privatizing is kind of been a public trend but there's also a dollar amount when you enlarge the scope of work. So just be mindful of that, but certainly it still may be cheaper than adding a body.
Well, it's an option for now, short.
Correct. So,
As you were talking about that, the sidewalk along Imperial Avenue that runs where the Centro and High School baseball field is, they redid all the landscaping around and the fencing and so on. I mean, but you're right on the edge of the curb. There's a lot of overgrown weeds that are coming out from in between the concrete. Is that city jurisdiction or is that their jurisdiction?
Normally, anything that fronts the property would be the entities that it belongs to. So in this case would be the district.
It would be
but I think a lot of times people look at it, oh, that's the city sidewalk. We won't take care of it. And so I think as we work on like nuisance abatement and cleaning up some ordinances, including that, hey, your frontage, your parkway is also your responsibility so that people know it's not just, oh, the city has to do this too.
Yeah, and I know that I've had some complaints from residents in terms of, some of the businesses here that have plants, trees and so on that are not kept up. Good example, it's like Walmart. I've had 2 complaints about Walmart, and even though Walmart was contracted, they still haven't done anything. I know it's a private entity, but, they're still within the city. The other thing is, at where Target is, remember where the 99 cent and that, that parking lot is so abandoned, and it's only that section
Because the
where
rest
the
looks
99
good.
cent store was,
Mhm.
and so it looks really bad. I mean, so is it something that, that the city can enforce for them to do something about that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Angel's
Yeah, the
jurisdiction.
city, and about, Adriana kind of mentioned a good point, is, look at the uses abatement ordinance.
Mhm.
Sometimes when we have interface with property owners, we want to see it very explicitly said about that.
And you know what-
And then that's, I was looking at it a couple of weeks ago, and it's just very gray. If I were on their side, like, it doesn't really explicitly say that. So that's one of the things that I wanted to clean up is the uses abatement ordinance. It was done in 1990. There's a lot of, I read it, and I read the procedures about how to actually kind of go above and beyond just fines isn't really that clear about hiring contractors to go in there and clean up something for a property owner, how to recover the cost. So those are one of the things I wanted to really clear up that specific ordinance.
So somewhere there's an entity, a city or a county that has language that directs spot on for 2026, get it to legal, get it cleaned up, because this is going to be absolutely the way, and I know that it's time, but that's exactly what we can do now is to maybe work on that cleanup language that allows us to have a little teeth to the code enforcement or any abatement that we need to do. And I'm glad you brought that up because, those go-bys are out there. When I was doing all this, I was kind of going through some go-bys and how are I go through different cities and it's like, okay, they got more money or they got more people. And that's what we're hoping to do, right? But, what can we do with what we have?
Also, other cities established lighting, landscaping improvements throughout the entire city. We just started that trend. That's why in many of our newer developments where we established it, we can pay for it because we established essentially, it's not a tax, but it's an assessment on that
Correct.
property and everybody pays a little bit. And so we're able to maintain that. But if you look at the older parts of Centro, we hadn't established anything like that. And I think that, also there was a lot of homeownership pride and some of that I
Correct.
think is now missing. And that has also led to just,
I was
carelessness, I would say.
I was approached by a gentleman who sprays chemicals for weed abatement all around farms and county and stuff. And he said, look, if you guys give me the okay, 3 a.m, I'll go down Adams Avenue and spray those islands. And
Tell them to fly over.
yeah, I'll get Donnie Morton for that one. But he, and I was like, man, I'm down. Just don't tell us. But, no, I didn't say that. But he was serious. At 3 a.m, before, he would be more than willing to just put a spray out to kill the weeds. And I said, well, look, I'm sure it takes, quite a bit of background for that to happen. But you're absolutely noticing on that. I put down, just if I may, the city of El Centro is a main municipality of Imperial County. As such, should reflect on all the natural beauty of our desert community that has to offer. Investing in systematic improvements throughout the city is not only a quality of life issue for our residents, but is a vital part of being attractive for growth, both commercial and residential development. There is a strong desire to increase the city's service capacity across all departments. Substantial efforts are being made to secure funding needed to allow for that growth. This goal has 2 main objectives, and this is where we get into that. First is to create a priority map to include outlining property area zones for the future growth, annexation and infrastructure needs, and property acquisition if needed. With an emphasis will be placed on the even growth of all parts of the city based on the identified needs. And then the second objective would be we would schedule maintenance for all streets, parks, and all city-owned properties in addition to adhering to our current city ordinances through code enforcement efforts. the creation of new city ordinances is what we were talking about with, that specifically address both privately owned and commercial residential properties, not meeting minimum standards. And then we would get more community input to create those minimum standards. So those are the objectives in which we would like to put, or at least I would like to put, and I'm sure that we could add to that from everyone, to our beautification efforts, is to do number one and do number two. And one is to beautify and to attract, the other one is to maintain.
All right, so just and I love that the ideas, and I'm going back to as Mr. Sawyer, our city manager, said, and what does that look to you? In your mind, what do you envision when you say beautification? Because that can mean many, many, many things. For public works, one thing; for parks, another, and so forth. So, what does it mean? Like a boulevard, and let's say, how do we get it down to the weeks? If it's, I want Imperial
down to the
Avenue
weeks.
cleaned up and better looking at because it's the main entrance. All right, is that medians? Is that a monument sign? Is it just repaving? And then how do we fund it? I guess is the next, right? Are we gonna use existing funding sources, new funding sources? Are we gonna create a special district, assessment district for that area to be able to raise revenue for it? That will help guide us in coming up with a straight on shot of a plan that says, you asked for this and here it is. But otherwise we're guessing, and our guess might not be what you envisioned.
So, and I absolutely understand, unless someone else,
Oh.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if it's goal oriented and if it's prior to the budget, if we can look at what you guys have on, when you guys bring it up, if it's something that we can already concur with or replace with something that's already being suggested, that's not already a continuation of something else, then maybe we could address the funding mechanism that way. I think the big thing would be to look at what the definition of beautification is amongst the council and see, and then from there, get that down and then look and see what you guys are gonna present and then be able to see if we can just update, switch out if it's not already mentioned. It may be mentioned already, and then maybe we can switch out.
Maybe definitions, I like that.
So one of the things is, Abraham, that there's nothing here that you're not already doing. You guys have put project after project forward, finding funding, moving forward. And so it's based on what we're asking to do. Minimum standards would be, we drive around the city. I'm not asking for, the everything to be, but the minimum standards, you see exactly what I see, and you see it and you see it. This is just, that's not what a city is supposed to look like. That's the minimum standards. How do we achieve that? I don't have the answers to that. I will try to, but you may have an idea of the funding source. So if we say, hey, you know what? Weed abatement throughout all commercial areas, all main thoroughfares, that might be the first, a laundry list that you're going to get. And then you're going to say, this resource, that funding, it's worked in the past, it can work in the future. Or you know what? I can't find funding for that. Send it back up the chain and say, look, we just can't get this one done right now. It's not something that you're not already doing in across everyone's. We don't want to ask for more than we think that you're capable of doing. And you can tell us, can't do it. There's no funding for that, no resources for that. But then we got, then we have to either lower our expectations of what that's going to look like, or we're going to have to start targeting areas. And you're absolutely right. By the time we get over to this area, we'll be back over to that area. All it takes is one bad rain. And we got potholes and weeds everywhere. So
I was saying for the, beautification, and well, I don't know if it's beautification, so I might go between different topics, but like one of the things I'd like to see is the total purchase of the bus shelters being done so that they're all done simultaneously and we don't have half and half. And that way throughout the city, the beautification and update is done at the same time. And people won't feel that they're neglected in one area and not the other. So for me, seeing, I know we have ICTC assisting us greatly with some of the new ones, and we approved a couple of extra. Whatever's left over, like for me, that would be important to be able to have that done, and then we're done with that. And everything's uniform in the city. And that's one of the things that came to my mind right now.
Well, and I would ask that, how do we spread the money around? Because when we look at homelessness or drug or alcohol addicted individuals or population, and we're looking at these, we have different populations. There's the main population. So how do we spread that money out, that we do some of those, we do the bus, we do the homeless stuff, but we don't have enough money, that's all we can do. Well, that handled some special populations. You know, do we need to be more evenly across the board for all populations of the community? Right.
Every population has a different need. We won't be able to address every need at once, but I know that, for some projects like the one I brought up right now, it's maybe, I don't know, a third of the way done, maybe if we look at all the ones that we're purchasing. And it's just to bring it over the finish line. Maybe one of the things we could do is just go over and see what the goals are, and then go back and look at the funding and see if there's any that overlap, and identify, just give the definitions of what we want right now, and then go back and look at the funding and see if that, are they all out of one, are they out of two? And then that way we can go and review from there.
We can push for our top three.
Yeah.
So then that way we know that this priority is here
And these are-
first, and then move forward from there. But we can go with our top three. That's just a
And these two are very attainable. I think with abatement, I can even talk to Adriana or the landscaper folks, and we can get a quote. Hey, how much is it for 2 weeks to go around town and knock it off, and then come back to you, and this is how much money we need.
Like
For
the visual enhancement area, is that what you're thinking?
Cyril Avenue, Adams Avenue, 4th Street, Dogwood, 8th Street, arterials,
Avenues.
avenues.
And
Those
just
things,
for somebody to
I
go
know.
around and cut weeds too, because I always get complaints for right there by Broadway and
Broadway.
State, because there's
Mhm.
always weeds grown up on the sidewalks, and people are always asking.
And that could be a recurring program because our staff can handle maintenance, but maybe this is after a rain, we need, let's call it $100,000 or whatever. And we'll $50,000, and we'll go and knock it off in 2 weeks, and immediate benefit and immediate visual improvement. So that's one.
That's not what your contingency is, it?
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We might have to fix the sidewalk and fill a crack so the weeds don't come out.
Over there.
Or poison them if they pull them out, poison the area.
And that can be a program. Yes, definitely. So as part of the
So
weed
weed
abatement,
abatement,
spray it
Get a
out as well.
spray.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
loud and clear.
I think we're getting into the weeds now.
Yeah.
Literally. And bus shelter program, that's a very attainable. It's just how basically we can either contract it out or get it done. And if these are the definitions of beautification and some low hanging fruit that's a short term wins, we like to know that, and we can tackle that. There's some more grandiose, maybe long term beautification goals, and we can talk those over time.
Yeah, and one of mine, and I told Abe this one, is street signage.
Mhm.
The poles, some are tall, some are short, some are faded, some are too colorful. So that's another one that I personally have shared, please, because we all approach an intersection and you look at the sign and it looks sad. And so to me, that's one of those, it's like jewelry. It just doesn't go with that or city outfit, That's one that I personally have shared, and that's one we don't have a lot of funding for. And I know that would make a huge difference. And I know it does, because in Brawley, I saw when they changed out all their street signs, I was like, wow, it looks nicer. And it was something, cosmetic, but it's something we all see.
It's kind of funny you say that, because if you're up in Indian Wells or La Quinta or Indio, their street signs change for whichever city you're in. And it's like, oh, I'm in the nice area. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm in the nice area. No, I'm not.
because they're lit or,
Yeah,
they're nice and fresh, but
Which kind of goes in hand with
cost.
your bus stops. So.
yes,
It's-
yes.
It's time, right? So it's and we've changed a lot of the signage, but there's a whole lot that is pending.
Yeah, it's a
So
big
in
city.
my world, I'd like to see a bulldozer go down Commercial Avenue over there east of 4th Street, knock down every old building. And even if we were just looking at land, is better than looking at rubble. Or so, because we have so much dilapidated all the way across. I mean, how long has Bar Lumber been empty? I know that there's something,
We're out of eminent domain powers, so.
I understand. But I mean, just, it has a profound impact on our city. It has the exact opposite of what we're trying to achieve. And those are the things that are out of our control.
And
So,
that's a good point because in our realm of available goes back to the homelessness. Where can we help and where we cannot? We're confined between the in public right away, and we cannot do much, or it's a lot harder to do anything in private property.
On the, oh gosh, I was gonna say, right, when you were saying about oh, Angel, on those, like the buildings that Mike mentioned right now, are we able to collect any type of fines or anything from the individuals who own the buildings on Commercial, east of 4th Street? Because they're not occupied, or at times they have individuals that appear to be living in them?
It could be the first thing you register in the vacant property registration ordinance, and there's maintenance requirements as part of that, and it could be fined on a daily basis if they don't meet those maintenance requirements.
And how about just for having the buildings empty here?
We don't have that type of requirement or regulation. There's some cities that have vacant property tax, but California, I can think of only probably 2 or 3 of them that do have that.
And can we add that?
I know we spoke with, we had a very preliminary discussion with Wildan. There are the kind of consultant that the finance department uses for varying tax assessment purposes, and we could look into that. Yeah. It might require a vote of the community to do that.
Okay.
Put it on the ballot.
Yeah, and then
Because would that,
I know looking at other cities like I think Sacramento, they're the latest to try to do that. There's a lot of kind of opposition from the real estate community, because usually the local real estate community, like, they're the ones that want to see buildings that are occupied and things like that. So they feel that they're getting punished in a way to do that. But we could look into that with that.
I'm just saying, because we also have some downtown that are just empty there. And it, maybe that would assist us in at least being able to have activity, some financial influx, something, because they're sitting there and not rented or anything.
Angel, hasn't Anna been active with those, registering those empty spaces in the downtown area and are we still finding them? Because I know that that's been an issue for quite some time.
About a month ago, we sent out around 250 letters to all the vacant properties that we had registered, telling them that they need re-registered this year. And for those that had already registered, they had to pay $50 registration fee. Yeah, so a lot of properties in downtown, but
But weren't we also collecting fines for violations of, like the maintenance, the upkeep of the property?
Yes. But that's one thing, and look,
Yeah.
people have a vacant property and they maintain it. They're not getting fined or anything like that. Yeah, but yes, we've been citing people for violations like that.
Yeah, because I know that is something that's already in place. Again, it goes with enforcement of it.
Raceway.
It's just like, yeah.
And then that's what kind of stops off, because we could just find people, and some of these properties, especially like the older properties, it was bought by the grandfather, and now it's owned by 5 siblings, and they can't get their act together about what to do. And but the fines keep on.
Yeah, they keep on
Keep on.
piling up, but in the end, there's a lien against the property if they were ever to do something with it, right?
Yes. But if there's always like, okay, well, having someone do something in compliance, sometimes they're literally out of the state.
I know.
Yeah, and then
I know.
Yeah.
And
Maybe if we
these
can look at
vacant
that.
properties have been a frustration for quite some time.
Mhm.
You know, and it's just like, and there have been efforts, to try to get the owners to take ownership, but it's like pulling teeth.
Well, maybe we need to get more aggressive.
Well, that's,
And that's what I've been saying with code enforcement, is that we need to get more aggressive when it comes to the spaces that Caltrans and Union Pacific own, because that's where, unfortunately, these homeless individuals probably know that the city doesn't have the jurisdiction there, and that's why they hibernate.
so I would like to, just for a moment, have each staff member give, if you had one objective from your department that you would like to accomplish in this upcoming year, what would that be? I know that you've just gone through your budget and you guys have identified, but what's the one thing that you would love to be able to accomplish this new fiscal year? And I guess I would have to preference that by hoping that maybe the funding came through with, at mid-year, but if not, let's just go with what we have. So, there you go.
Well, probably it's not that important, but probably I would like to.
You never start with
Yeah, I would like to install Wi-Fi in Buckley Park, for example, for residents.
And is that hand in hand with that one that we were talking?
Yeah. I didn't ask him to do that.
Yeah, that was a perfect setup right there.
No, because the broadband is specific to the city only. It's not for, it states they're not for public.
Correct, in the contract that we weren't allowed to share.
Yes.
Oh, no, but we can. Does that make sense?
Well, the way the contract was worded, we're getting off topic a little bit.
Yeah, okay. But yes, I once we have it, we can.
Yeah. We're working on that one there, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Angel?
Well, a couple of things actually. First, on the code enforcement front, update our current nuisance payment lines. I've seen some requests for assistance on that. And also, we have a draft of we don't have any standard operating procedures for our code enforcement division, so I've drafted those. I'm just going to share that with staff relatively soon. And
Angel, I'm sorry, what was that? A draft of what?
of our policy and procedural manual
Oh,
for
okay.
code enforcement, and the goal is to not only just for the staff, but just for the community, so that they're aware of how code enforcement works. I think a lot of people have different expectations of what people do. Example is kind of like is it problems between property owners? Sometimes you don't get the city involved. That's one example, just to kind of educate the community, but also kind of make sure that we're consistent internally with what we do. An example is kind of like, when do we start doing daily fines? Because that could be, we want to make sure we're not being arbitrary. We have some type of criteria that we actually implement that on. Another thing related to economic development is, hopefully get funding for some type of economic development strategy for the city. The last one we did was in 2012. Lots changed in the commercial front. So that's something that I want to get done next 12 months.
What was that? Repeat the first part of that, Angel? I couldn't hear you.
Which one? But code enforcement?
This last one.
Update our
Economic
economic development elements of our general plan. So the last one that we did was in 2012. And, that was before people started really using things like Amazon and things like that. So I really want to look into that. Yeah, I know, especially in looking out if there's any opportunity sites kind of the east part of town that could generate substantial job generation. That's where we have most of the bulk of our industrially zoned land. So
Currently, Angel, how many do you have in code enforcement?
2, and let's speak about, we're talking about like, I think that's enough people in code enforcement. What I've seen though is that sometimes we get pulled into different directions. Especially like dealing with like the homeless individuals.
Yeah.
So my question for that, because one of the things I had put on the beautification was code enforcement program is to expand it to a 3-officer and then do areas of responsibility, because if you say 2 is enough to respond to the calls, or are they doing actually out there seeing the violation and then are they proactively addressing it, or are they just, they get the calls, they go out, they handle their business?
A lot of the calls, don't quote me, but probably like half of the cases are because people call. The other half is just they just
Observation.
Town, they know like, okay, well, you can't be parking on improved surfaces. You can't,
So the reason I was bringing that up is because creating an area of responsibilities, either in 2 different ways,
like a beat,
like that, either geographically or in levels in which one does commercial, one does residential, and one does maybe others that doesn't fit in those. But I don't know if the workload would be evenly that way. So, but the reason I brought that up is because that goes towards the maintaining. We're asking everyone to let's do our part. We'll get to everything nice, and then we need enforcement to make sure it happens. It continues by our residents, by our business owners, and so you believe that 2 is sufficient at this point?
Yes, but that's assuming then that they're just working on code enforcement matters. I know one of our officers, and she's very active with calling the railroad over and over again to get them involved with some of the issues that we talked about earlier.
Well, and I think that falls hand in hand with code enforcement. If in fact we need to get a hold of the reporting parties for these other entities to solve a particular problem, right? If she says, hey, that's not the city of Centro, or whoever, that is Caltrans, it can't just stop there. It can't just tell whoever the RP is, that's Caltrans. We should follow that up to Caltrans and say, hey, look, how can we work this out? So I would love to keep that communication going as a liaison for the city to solve the problem. So it starts with her. She gets a call. She goes, finds out it's IID property. Then she reaches out to her IID contact, and hopefully collectively, if all the stars align, IID say we'll be right out there, which will not happen. But I'm not saying that they will. Anyhow,
I know that Anna's been very, very assertive to the point of aggressive. When it comes to communicating with Caltrans, IID, railroad, it's just like, but it's, even though she makes the calls and asks, for their help in resolving the matter, for them to come out.
Well, that was
another
kind of the
matter.
conversation about sliding over and looking at city ordinances that we can put together for public entities that are not working in good stewards and being partners with the city. There's certainly an expectation that the city will be partners with railroad, that we'll keep our streets, correct. Well, I'm sure IID wants to make sure that the city partners well with them, and when they ask for things that we do, that we can help with, we certainly want to be good partners. And same with Caltrans, but it needs to be reciprocal. So, I think that creating a point of contact is always.
So I'm wondering if it needs to rise above like code enforcement and go up to the next level of authority to try and communicate with these other entities at that level and just, keep ratcheting it up till we find, someone that'll help. And if it doesn't, then we go to the legal side and decide what can and cannot do.
Yeah, I think that we should work on something to just, give a time frame and so forth, especially because we're dealing with, entities that have been established for years. They've been
Yeah.
asking since October or November for IID to come out and clean those, I don't know, drenches on Evan Hughes and nothing. And by this time, I would have requested already some type of fine or have us go and have someone else clean it and have them pay and do a
Well, or
penalty.
what I'm saying is higher level talks
Yeah.
to figure this out.
I think that's what has to happen.
That's where that third person would have came in handy.
The third, yeah, perhaps. Okay.
Well, I think a supervisor and going up the ladder is my thought, higher level talks between these, entities.
Supervisor in Angel's shop?
Mhm.
Okay. At some point, it may take a member of council showing up at the board meeting.
Exactly.
Requesting assistance.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
certainly started at our level.
And trying to build a relationship instead of just threatening calls.
So we have a fairly good working relationship with the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to poke him in the chest. I just want cooperation.
That's
Mhm.
it.
Just as I
Right.
expect that we will cooperate with any
Exactly.
requests coming
Yes,
from them.
Exactly.
So I mean, I have no idea what the levels are, but certainly it sounds like Caltrans has been reached out over here. I tried to reach out to Caltrans for that very same issue, and after about 45 minutes, they won. I was completely frustrated with trying to get a hold of someone,
Yeah.
and I went about my life.
Caltrans is different.
So
Yes. Right.
not having a home base here makes it difficult as well.
If we had someone that we knew personally at Caltrans that had some authority, it might be different, but that's not the case.
Well, and we don't know if we're talking about all the things that we can't do because of our resources. We don't know if they're in a similar issue.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, we're trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
They need to hopefully be a part of the solution.
Well, I know that, for example, Anna in code enforcement, she's had contacts at these different agencies. These contacts may have changed in time.
Sure.
It's just like, and she hasn't developed that relationship or that rapport with these other individuals as she had with a previous individual. So, I mean, and when I say that she was being assertive, aggressive, but she's not threatening. She just wants to get these agencies to cooperate with us and collaborate and do their part to clean up their properties that are within our jurisdiction. So that's I know she's done a lot of work with that.
So Mr. Redford hit the nail on the head when he said it's none of their problems. It's all El Central problem. No one that drives by any of this thinks it's anything but El Central. So it is our cross. So, okay. What time is it?
It's Liz 3.
It's what?
It's Liz's turn.
Sorry.
Rapid fire.
Well, for finance, what I would like to see for next year is that the modernize our financial system, our payment process, and in general, our process in our department. So we're trying to, as the city grows, the services grows, and there's a lot of, more business, more accounts. So we would like to have everything, and it's an investment, but sometimes it's probably we will need one more body in this department if we get like a payment through online payments and provide that kind of services. I would like to see the city, just customers can receive their bills through email or have a notification in their phones and then be able to go to the billing payment. That's it, So that will set shorter lines in our lobby, easiest and faster to process. We have the last report was 10,364 accounts. So we have to process all the billing and all the payments for all that customers. So also for business licenses, I see that most of you council members mentioned about economic development, and I would like to see that the city is like business friendly. And as you council member come in and say, yes, in the past we have done different stuff with different vendors in order for them to come. I remember a long time ago when it was a deal with Olive Garden years ago when they first start, and then when with Mr. Coin just to develop that corner. I mean, they have been in the past that we work with different business so they can come to the city because they're going to generate sales taxes at the end. But I would like to, for the business, let's say business licenses, we have a lot, that we don't have like for contractors, local contractors. So they're coming from San Diego or up north. And for them to be able just to pay their business license online, that's a big help. So they will have to wait until some personnel or employee for their company came down and then do all the diligences, pay all the permits through for Angel with finance in order for them to come and do business in our city. So if we can just do at least those two, and that there will be like a online paperless timesheets. That would be great. Those three, but all those are like just to modernize our system. It's not just going to be helpful for the finance department, for all the city staff, but also for all our citizens. That will be my top.
So we're actually trying to also make you extremely busy come mid-year with all the hiring if things were to work out. One of the things that along your lines was in the community development services is perhaps even employees that would work as liaisons one for business, one for residential. These are just pilot thoughts that that we're all trying to put in here. Everyone has their own thoughts on this, and then a grant management associate. And for that very reason, that you can connect outside businesses, and that would be their liaison with the city and connect all these, and I know that we probably have a job description that matches in some form or fashion, and it may be vacant now. Is that the one that is vacant? It's kind of like it would be a business liaison.
Not in the community development
Not
department. Not formally, no.
Okay. So, and then I think that the other issue that you had brought up was how do we get streamlined? Because some of it's software that you're talking about, right? And then obviously some of it is personnel to handle some of the increases. So, and you would think, I would base on what you're saying, would make your department more efficient and effective moving forward.
Yes.
And we bring it into the modern world. I
Yes.
was so shocked to see that you guys still do paper timesheets.
Yeah,
You know,
we have
that should be
been
the
working
first
with
thing
our
out.
with our current software, the personnel, and it's been very helpful that Miguel is helping in finance because we will be able to prioritize or just expedite the process, and he's been helping us just to do the implementations. We're working through with HR, with finance, with IT. So our goal is to have them running for next fiscal year.
Very nice. Thank you, Liz.
Well, and let me just share with you because the payroll system has been something that I can think back to maybe 3 to 4 years ago that we too were shocked, to learn that everything was still being done on paper timesheets. And I know that then at that point, the city manager, I think, was tasked with working with finance to find a program that could accommodate because of the different shifts per diem, and different things that have to go with like public safety and so on.
So
You know,
before
to-
it was like a,
And there was another finance manager in place as well. So I think the ball got dropped somewhere.
well, now we took the ball and we drop it. No, we but to the sky. So now we were able to, before it was a lot of blocking for not having different systems in order to make the work. But now we work with PD. PD can just tell you, Chief Brown, we have a new software they are managed that we were able to
Integrated.
integrate it with ours. So it's just willing to work and then look for more softwares.
Yeah.
And then that software didn't accommodate old fire, but we found another software that accommodate more,
That could accommodate. that would
accommodated, the
integrate.
different, and that those integrates with our current financial system. So it's the ball's still in the air.
But we're getting somewhere, right?
Yeah, we're getting
Okay,
somewhere, yeah. We're close.
Yes. Thank you.
So this timesheet, is it, are you just talking a program or do people actually clock in?
It's just the timesheet, no clocking in yet.
Does the city clock in anywhere?
No,
No employees clock in?
no.
How's time taken as far as tardies and absences?
Supervisor.
Supervisor.
You do the manual subtraction and?
It's all manual. Carbon
manual.
copies.
Carbon copies.
So,
Yeah.
so
Literally.
Why?
Literally,
not literal.
we have.
Oh, yes, literal.
Yes, the
But
vacancy
you're-
reports.
You're-
Oh, yeah,
You sign
it's a
it.
duplicate form, but
The leave
you said
request.
carbon copy, I'm
The
so
leave
old, I'm thinking you had a slide
Yeah.
that we paid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was thinking
Me too.
pretty much.
You know what? We're still there. We're there.
We're there.
Let's just say
Hold on.
carbonless copies, okay?
Carbonless.
Like, yeah.
Go ahead, Chief.
So, what she's referring to is the police department, maybe a year ago or so, maybe a little more than a year ago, went to a program. It's cloud-based in time. And so through an app or through a desktop, staff is able to put in requests for time off. The supervisors can post overtime opportunities if there's a special event, stuff like that. The program works really, really well for us. But I understand that it's more geared towards law enforcement. And so it doesn't necessarily work for the rest of the departments within the city. So that's been a struggle. We did Liz, I don't know if you recall, I want to say it was probably 6 months of a trial where staff was doing both, everything on the digital platform, but also paper. And once we were able to work it out with finance, where the timesheets were errorless, if you will, through the platform, we've switched over to that 100%. So I can take from my phone and I can look and see who's working right now. I can see who's scheduled to be off for the next week, and who has, a special event planned on Saturday. So it's a great program, but again, I don't think that it would fit all of
It's
the
just your
needs of the
population.
different departments.
It still goes to supervisor approval.
Yeah, so the way it works is once you've filled out your timesheet, you send it to your direct supervisor. They have to review it, and then they have to type in their own code or password to approve it and send it over. So to kind of give you an idea, so I submit my timesheet to the city manager's office. I'm able to print it in a PDF and email it to him. So that there's still that printable copy, so that he has the physical portion of it. But because the rest of the city's not on it. So
I'm just concerned that nobody clocks in. It's financial, it's a guardrail, I should say. It's accountability and so forth.
Right.
And I'm gonna say right now that I don't know of any other large entity that doesn't have employees clock in. And I remember that was one of the concerns that I had heard when I first came, was that there were some people that allegedly came in late repeatedly and so forth, and it didn't appear that there was any type of
consequence or anything, and that they'd come in and leave and get coffee and come back. And so I would like to say that this city needs to have a time clock. There needs to be accountability for everybody. We're asking for staff. That also brings accountability from the staff to be to work on time and to make sure that time's being used wisely, and that supervisors are able to see what happens if evaluations come up, and how are you seeing who's doing what, coming in on time and so forth. So I would like to, I don't know if you guys have heard of Cronus or anything like that, but this city needs to not only catch up with that, but also needs to catch up with automated check-in and check-out.
Well, that definitely could be a project that we could put. I will tell you that every city I've worked for doesn't have that. And currently the Puro Valley College doesn't have that. So
I'm just talking about the cities.
no, I'm saying the entities that I've been associated with, thus the need for supervision sign off.
No, I'm saying for tardies, that's for like vacations and so forth. Like when you start looking at problematic.
I guarantee you that I knew when my folks were tardy or not.
So schools don't either, right?
Yeah,
I don't think schools don't either because they have the same problem.
Yeah.
Teachers come late, leave early.
I believe the hospital just went to it.
Well, hospitals always had.
No, the
Yeah.
hospitals.
Did they?
Hospitals always had.
Did they?
Oh,
Even the school where I work,
Big
we
time.
have an automated system, and I'm the one that
oh, really?
that
Public
approves
schools
the
do not.
timesheets and
Yeah,
and so
public
on.
schools do not. It's a
Because
big
I
problem.
process,
I can tell
process
you.
payroll. You know, so.
I never even.
Yeah,
checked. I
that's
just
why, it amazes
put
me.
in
I mean,
my payroll.
all the
they pay
credits,
me.
all the credit unions that I worked at, we were all on, either.
Well, it's
because
certainly a
back in the day,
project.
we didn't have apps on the
It's
phones,
just a computer.
but you just use the desktop to clock in. and
You
out.
use your fingerprint or your thing, that's it.
So now you have another
So,
thing
this
you
is,
can look at.
this has been a long-term goal,
Look into that.
that we've been, this is not the first time that this has come up.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
And I want to do this, but I'm going to do this just because, Abe, you're up, but you're on the clock.
Let me get on my.
No.
No,
We
I
should-
think
we should tell you the same thing. You're
Yeah.
you're on the clock.
Thank you,
I am
Sylvia.
exactly like him. Absolutely.
you know what? A lot of it has already been spoken to. It goes along the same lines of improving the citizen experience, right? Whether it's directly from the citizens to us or just within us, how do we make it work so that we're able to provide that? We talked about just looking at my coworkers here. We talked about modernization, and I've seen different aspects of what it takes. And every time we do a new project, you're taking that person away from what they were already doing and barely able to catch up. So we're always going back to we need help. We need additional staff, and I commend a council for really taking that on. It's not an easy ask, it's not an easy lift, but I really, really commend council for really focusing on and recognizing we need staff. We need to properly compensate them and so forth. So for software and so forth, it's the same folks in finance that I've been here with 20 years. I don't think they've added a single person. And now we're asking them to also be IT professionals and IT techs in finance to work out with different softwares, cloud system, different vendors, merge databases, work with different software vendors. They're finance, they're accountants, they're not they're not the data managers.
I'm sorry. Are you advocating for going back to paper?
No. But because I bring it, it's the same with public works. I'd love to have our citizens be able to have like IID, look at their water consumption, their wastewater consumption on an app. IID has many employees just for that one aspect of it, right? And if we want to be able to provide that experience, it's almost like a huge expansion of whether it's a centralized software development team or software implementation team for the whole city, or outsource or decentralize in different departments, but something needs to be looked at just for that, because asking for new software and new experiences for the customers out of the existing staff, it's not sustainable. And it hasn't been, and that's why we're still trying to put it as a side project. We're gonna implement this as a side project. We're gonna implement that as a side project. So going back to staff, so my number one is staffing stability. And I'm working with a engineering division right now, which my person with the longest longevity in that office is 1 year. And that's not sustainable. I'm right now physically sitting in the engineer's office, running engineering, helping out. We have a great team, but we need additional help. Goes back to the staffing, and the budget request already has that, and thank you for that. If we were able to provide that appropriate level of pay for that, for those very special key positions, which are the front door to business, to mapping, to new housing, to new commercial, those are the folks that receive that comes together with Angel's team. If that's a goal, we need to take care of that front door, which will generate revenue for other positions down the line as well, right? So with this additional staffing, well, I mean, we can deliver our water master plan, the projects, with depending the process that we need to go for that. We can do better job paving the streets, maintaining signage, cleaning up the striping in the city, which adds to the city beautification. Concrete sidewalks, all of that. But it's all again goes down. How do we do it? We need boots on the ground. We need people, and we need to pay them properly so we can keep that experience, and we're not constantly training and retraining and retraining. So that's all I'll say. It's just my goal is to have a stable workforce.
We appreciate that. Yeah.
You're right on point. Yeah.
Oh,
She's working on her list.
She went like this.
No, well, I mean, I'm going to piggyback on them, right? We are currently working on streamlining with technology, using technology, and talking about more staff. You do need to know that when we work on implementation, it's half a day working with the implementation team of Munis, which is our system, right? We sit there like literally Miguel, Liz, myself, 4 hours going through, taking notes, and then going back and understanding, how this new technology will work so that we can then feed it to the rest of the staff. So on top of our full-time jobs, regular duties, if we're talking about let's streamline, let's implement this, it's literally like us, because there's no one else to do it. So, and I mean, yes, Miguel knows about a lot more than technology than Liz and I, so we do need him in there as well, and we're grateful for that, but it takes away from our regular job duties. And some of the things that, other than the timesheets that we're working on, is in performance evaluations. That one just went through. We went from having paper, now it's paperless. They can access it from wherever. One of the goals that I have is our payroll change forms. This works in, obviously, finance and HR. City manager knows, he gets stacks of them. Any change that goes through, for example, right now that we'll be implementing the comp study, there's going to be hundreds of those forms, because that is what allows the pay to the change in pay. So he is one of the signees, finance director, the person that created it.
We're going to start rubber stamping those things.
Well,
they're about that thick. When she tells you they go through each,
yes.
Any change in employee's payroll status or anything else requires a PCA form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's generated by HR, and then it goes to me and finance. And
yes. So that's another goal.
And we also do the calculation manually.
Yes.
So.
Which is ridiculous, right? I mean, we should have ranges built into
One by
Munis
one.
and
No, just sign it. We also do the calculation.
So that's part of what we're working on. Now, another goal that I would say it's a big one, and everybody's familiar with it right now, is the implementation of the comp study, right? And that's the goal, is to bring staff that are below market up to market. With it, hopefully, employee retention will increase, helping Abraham with the stability. And overall wellness, right, of staff will increase. And I hear that that's one of you guys' concern, employee wellness. Mental health, could be better, less training, more productivity. Because to train a new employee, that takes, a lot. So I would say that's it for me.
Yeah, and I have a handful of things when it came to the employee wellness, from proactive employment management, appraisal packets annually, which would be more work, which would require some more, but mental health and physical fitness and nutritional programs, and all the way to improving our medical coverage and percentages, all these things. And then, of course, longevity,
Yes.
which is some of the things that we were talking about for retention and for stability for our folks. That not only do we train them, but we start finding benchmarks that when they hit, show their value to us because they're bringing that organizational knowledge and hanging on to it. So certainly something that we will be working on moving forward. So appreciate you bringing that forward.
I had a clarification request when you were saying about the 4 hours training. That, are you saying that each of you learned the program from Miguel and then you turn around and go
No,
train?
we purchase certain hours. Well, do you want to speak on
Yes,
that?
we it's an implementation time sessions. So we talk to the software vendor, and they show you how does the program works. For example, the electronic timesheets. So, but in order for them to work, you have to make to create some stuff inside our program, and sometimes things don't work, and you need to create codes, templates, and everything. So for when the users or employees goes to like the employee access that will be online, just log in and enter their times and their time of request in there. So, and it creates a workflow to the supervisor, and that's how are they gonna be approved. But to implement it, like we need to talk to them, because of course, like every agency have different codes and timesheets. So it takes time, and sometimes something doesn't work, and then we're there like just waiting for them to resolve it, and that takes.
Quick question: how many months is a typical project?
How many months?
Typical project.
They said that it's only 4 sessions, and we have been there like for 4 months, and we're still going through
We're still on the setting,
It's like at least 8 months of constant meetings.
we're still on the
Okay, so-
settings process.
Yeah, so I'm confused. So I'm sorry. So you're talking about when you get a program, or you're talking about that you go into the implementation training stage and it's all online?
Correct.
Okay, so you start that training. Or
No,
all
of us.
All of you start?
No,
that
no,
training?
us
three.
Okay,
Us
so
three.
why the 3 of you?
Because it needs IT knowledge, because Miguel has access to all the servers,
administrator.
The administrator. It needs information from finance, because we have the payrolls area for the codes, accounts, employee, etc. And then we need tools, because we need her side when she get a new employee, all the process of job master, however it's called. So we need the 3 departments in order, because that new module will affect both of us.
Okay.
So I think it's just a clarification. It's not a user training. It's a training
Implementation,
on
literally.
how to get it to work.
We're doing the settings,
Okay.
we're getting
That's what I
ready the
was-
system, and then we're gonna.
So the vendor is
use
literally connected into our system, and
Yeah,
and
to
and
be
they're like
able to interface,
modifying, and
yeah.
okay, this is not working. So right now, that's what's going on. That's why it's taking long, because they say, okay, we're gonna turn this on, and then they test it, and it's not working. Oh, we need to put a ticket to their techies on their side, and then we need to wait for the response. So it's not very easy.
Well, maybe it's just the wrong form of training and the wrong form of learning. Because if you're doing everything online and you're getting those type of ticks right away and so forth, don't they send everything over and then bring everything to you guys based on what you have?
No.
Welcome to Munis, Tyler
Yeah.
Technologies.
It's very customizable.
That's what I was about to say.
What,
Yeah.
there's something real wrong with that.
No, no,
Every
I
city
can
up and down the
totally
state
relate.
deals
Yeah,
with this.
I can, and I can relate on, even on, at my level. You know, we're transitioning to a new student information system, and I've got to have key people that they've given me a list of the people that have to be involved in the onboarding process in order to make this work with what we have, the current system, to transition to the new system. So I completely get what.
No, I mean, I understand it too, but if they're saying they're using that much time, something's wrong.
That, I will tell you, that is Tyler Technologies. It's been a complaint with every city that's on their platform. But when you go out and you look at municipal government software, they're the leader in the market, including San Diego counties and El Cajon and Los Angeles counties.
That's who
Everybody's
provides
on
the most
Tyler, but
services that fit for a city.
Then maybe you need, if you're wasting that much time with 3 people, then maybe it needs to be centralized or contracted with someone that can do it, work out the kinks, and then come and train it.
yeah, we can get into, we'll talk offline
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
what I'm
There's-
saying.
Unfortunately, that's not a possibility at this point in time, but we can talk more and I can.
Just so you guys know, this still works.
Yeah.
Until you run out of ink.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, you can't read your notes.
True.
And it doesn't come with spell check.
Okay.
Got to bring up the obvious here. All right. You know what? You're up.
You're up.
So for the police department, I think that the biggest thing is increased staffing, especially for our city manager and our mayor, our current mayor. You guys are aware, our staffing levels for sworn police officers are about the same as they were back in the 90s. And so as the city continues to grow, our staffing levels at the police officer position have not. So certainly, I think that's one of going to be the key that we're looking to do here in the near future is grow those positions, but also to continue to move our technologies forward, to enhance our technologies, and so that we can better serve the community through. I think it's very clear to say that we're in the digital age, right? And so, as we talked about with the timesheets, there are a lot of programs that will make policing better, and that translates to a better service for the community. So our top 2 are staffing levels, increasing staffing levels, and continuing to increase or leverage technologies.
Yeah, I on my public safety read, it also had sworn and community services for patrol and better response times, creation of a proactive crime suppression unit. Of course, upon your guys' recommendations, fire station 4 equipment and personnel when and if needed, and then maybe even a renovation of station 1, or at least a feasibility study to determine if that location still is it. And then we talked a little bit about SROs, school resource officers, because when we look at the vulnerability of special populations, one of our biggest and most dearest is our children. And so with the trends, the very unfortunate trends that have occurred over the last decade, certainly we'll want to work in partnership with the schools. So that was on the list of working, but again, like so many things, it's predicated on.
Yeah, and I think I can provide some clarification on that for you, Mr. Mayor. The police department for the last 3 years has executed a memorandum of understanding with the school districts. We currently have 3 officers that are assigned school resource officers, 2 for the high schools and 1 for the elementary school district. And that is the majority of that has been funded by those positions have been funded by the school districts. We are in talks, and I think it's okay. I know this is a public forum, but I think it's okay to let you know in this setting that we have continued those talks because those MOUs are going to expire this year. And we have some very strong interest and verbal agreement to continue those through the school district. And as a matter of fact, one of the school districts has upped the amount of time because as it sits now, they pay for one of those positions for 10 months out of the year. And so now they've upped that to 11 months because they see the value in the program. And then we're also talking about the potential of them providing some resources and equipment specific for the SRO positions. So all good stuff, great partnership with the schools, and we're looking at the verbal commitment at this point is 5 years as opposed to a 3-year. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Adriana?
So on the economic development side, one of the things that I owe to the council that we've been working on, and we've been a little short-staffed, but we just hired a person, so we're hopeful once they start, we can implement some of these things. But one that I already have a draft on is the economic development incentives policy. We've discussed it briefly, but it hasn't been formalized or adopted by council. The other ones are the establishment of a first-time home buyer guidelines, and that's one of the projects that Cloudburst, a consulting firm, is currently helping us with. Same thing goes for our ADA residential program. Cloudburst is working on those guidelines because there's a lot of setup that needs to be done because like all programs, it's a loan program. And then the other ones that we've been working on internal with finance is the civic rec implementation, and that's another integration program that we've been working on for quite a bit, but we're really excited. So one of the things that you couldn't do before that now you can is use your credit cards at the different facilities. And now you can do any type of credit card, I think except Discover, iPhone and Samsung smartwatch. You can pay at our facilities with those. And so for us, that's a huge technological advance that we hadn't been able to get to. We're ironing some of the kinks, but Liz, Miguel have been instrumental in that. And then the other ones are capital projects that are already under construction are Gomez Park. They poured the basketball court today, so that's something good. The Town Square, completing that project, finishing up the Veterans Memorial Project by November. And then based on the discussion today, I think looking forward on the weed abatement removal along street right-of-ways and making that a contract, I think, and then letting it come before you and letting you know what that amount would be for our street right-of-ways. And then the last one that we're really close on, we're just pending some finalization with Human Resources, the downtown maintenance employee. I know that was a request from council as well, and then purchasing the equipment for that. So those are the major ones.
A lot of that was bringing most of these projects home. Do we have any kickoff projects, capitals that are other than that have already been approved?
No, these are grants that we're bringing to fruition. The only other one that's new is the phase 2 for Jacaranda Gardens. We finished up phase 1. On the capital side, working with Abe on that. But again, staff. But on new projects, I don't have any like new parks that I'm slated for. The ones that are new are on the private developer side.
Well, I know just from reviewing and watching and hearing and that capital projects were big. I mean, you guys are just coming up for air right now because you've had quite a few that you're trying to get across the line. Yeah. And then we are trying to pivot a little bit towards services for this upcoming, but certainly capital projects are not just a want. A lot of times they're a need. So, but I just wanted to see if there was some gap going on here that
services I did provide a while back, I think, to our city manager in terms of employment for the department, right, additional positions, and we're pending, on what the budget is going to look like and other priorities, because I know on, both sides of me, they have needs as well. And we understand that public safety has, been prioritized in terms of personnel.
Perfect.
I don't know if we could say that if they've been there the 90 since the same numbers.
Yeah, well, they're hired, but there's a turnaround.
Yeah.
The PD or the what?
Yeah. Well, she was saying the priority for staff is public safety. I don't know if we could say that if they've had the same number since the 90s.
Adrian, I'm sorry, what did you say you were working on with?
Oh, civic rec implementation. And that's also being able to reserve facilities. So like park kiosks, right now, we had done it, manually. You come, you turn in a paper, but you will be able to say, I want to use Buckland Park Ramada number 2. You'll submit a request online. We'll receive it and we'll approve it and schedule somebody to go out and power wash it and be there ready for you
That's nice.
when your birthday party comes up.
That's nice.
One of the things that I had mentioned was, and that's just me, we haven't spoken about, I don't know if this is a place, but about doing facade improvement again. I don't know, that would involve funding, I would assume, from our city
Yes.
for, between 4th and 5th Street, Sonia, on State. I'd just like to bring that up because those are things that, that area really needs attention. It's been neglected for a while by everyone, and there's a lot of weeds out there too, and
The weeds are a common theme.
And so if we can be able to contribute to some of the eyesore that we're allowing for whatever reasons there, I'd like to be able to see facade improvement between 4th and 5th Street. There is one company there, the electrical company, that has done a great job on their own. And maybe if we can
Within
limit
5th on what street?
a State between 4th and 5th.
Did Broadway, was it ever power washed? Was it Broadway?
Yeah.
We looked at?
Yes, it was.
It was done?
Yes.
Probably back.
Yeah.
Pigeons are the
Oh,
other weeds that we have.
Don't
We-
tell me nothing about pigeons.
We have the biggest, best power washer when they have to purge their fire truck.
Oh, yeah. We can go do that.
Okay, so between 4th and 5th Street on State
State
Street.
Street.
That's
Yeah,
where
we
the liquor
walked that
store is
area.
at, right? The
Uh-huh,
famous one?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay.
And the gymnastics.
Yes. But Broadway is also, 400, 500
Yeah,
block of
yeah.
Broadway.
500.
But we're
Broad-
hoping to
Broadway.
have some, I think Angel's gonna do a presentation for us next council meeting on possible rezoning on Broadway between
Yeah, the
4th
next
and.
council meeting, I was gonna
Mhm.
give a presentation about, like, give to the planning commission regarding allowing residential uses along.
But what?
Specifically, like,
Residential uses.
residential uses apartments on Broadway between 4th and 8th Street, yes.
A lot of those buildings, are they locally owned or they're by people that are not in the valley?
I think for, on Broadway, most of
Yes.
them are locally owned.
Locally.
Yeah.
Locally owned lots.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
If you're doing
Main
that power
Street's-
washing from 111 to Austin, it would also be nice to do that entire city. It's horrible everywhere. It's just a community. I mean, it's our desert. It blows in. I know that those areas are really bad. And those are high traffic areas.
And I think for us, if you've lived in other places, it rains a lot more. And that allows, it's like God's cleanup.
Yeah.
Here we don't get that
We
much
don't get
rain,
it.
so we use, water hoses to clean up. But that's definitely a need that we see throughout, like downtown. Like it needs a good pressure wash, the whole
Yeah.
thing. But I think going back on an initiative like facade improvement, is that something you all want to go back to as a whole? Because, this is a perfect example. One council member or 2 council members said, do a facade improvement program. Is that something you guys would like us to put in the budget for next year?
Well, and actually, we're getting to that where we're at that part of the meeting where we're going to start having that
What are your big
discussion.
ones? Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's probably a handful of things that are very similar to that we need to.
Discuss, like
Good.
the plant updates, we still haven't done those.
Oh, the plant
Yeah,
palette.
Yeah.
from downtown, and they're still, it
It's
looks
still
dirty,
pending.
and I mean, they're wild, it just doesn't look. Yeah.
We started that conversation. We just need to finish it. Yeah.
I think we
I
finished
believe
it. We
I
just need
believe
the money.
less is more though. Let's just put a
Yeah.
big rock out there and be done. Okay. Chief?
All right, so my one has already been touched on, which is talking about the 4th fire station, right? And so my goal for next year would be to initiate the planning phase of a 4th fire station by securing an architect firm to conduct the site feasibility, station design, and cost analysis. So that way we can have some real world numbers and understand what the the scope of work's gonna be and also what it's gonna cost, and is it gonna be a feasible project? Otherwise, I would then pivot to some other priorities. And again, what was already mentioned in terms of potentially renovating Station 1. But as of right now, we talk about, service to the community. The best way for the fire department to do that is through the expansion of our services, specifically a new fire station in the southwestern portion of the city.
And I have a couple thoughts that it would start off by obviously getting some type of study that says, hey, based on the growth pattern, based on the revised areas of service, how you would divide up your response from the different, this would be Station 4. There is an absolute need with our growth going in whatever direction it is, because not only would you determine, but you'd have to determine a location to help that along. And then I think the second flip of that is not to have a very beautiful empty Station 4. We would need to equip it and with just, with apparatus and personnel. So it's a full phase, right? To do that. Because you guys basically are sitting with, I know that if I recall, that you guys have an A, B, and C, or how it worked, and that each station had a squad and an engine crew, and then a battalion chief, as you have now. Is that still your setup?
So we have 13 per shift, right, when we're fully staffed, which we're not quite there, but we're going to bring on 4 more here in the next month. So 13 per shift, minimum staffing of the day is 10. That includes the battalion chief. So each station basically has 3 personnel running off 1 fire engine out of each fire station. That being said, a 4th station, we couldn't really put it to use with the current workforce that we have. We just don't have the staff positions. So kind of what Chief Brown says is the staffing model of the fire department hasn't really changed that much over the last, my 25 years with the department. The only way we've gotten additional positions is by trading. And so the administrative staff looks a lot different than when I got hired. There was a fire chief, a fire marshal, a training captain, 3 battalion chiefs. We have a fire chief, a deputy chief, and 3 BCs. So we got rid of the fire marshal position. They got rid of the fire marshal position to get maybe a few more firefighters, and that's the only way we've been able to manage to augment our workforce is by trading positions. So a fourth station is something that is, I think, very much needed in terms of the current growth of the city and the forecasted growth. We're growing away from our fire stations. We are very much our capabilities are based off the distribution of our fire stations, and that's where we operate out of. And as we grow further away, we just get further away from our stations, and we start missing some of the response standards that are identified in terms of the NFPA, which is a national guideline that kind of sets those response standards for the fire department. Geographically, we just can't keep up. And so, yes, a 4th fire station is something that I really want to take a look at, but yeah, we're going to need the staffing to make that work as well.
Yeah, no, and because of the time frame in which all this works at unfortunate snail pace, certainly we'll know in November where we're standing. So,
Chief, remember the presentation
Yes.
you showed us? So it's like, that answers a lot of the questions.
And it's probably worth now that there's been some redistribution of council on different committees. I think a reconvening of the public safety task force might be in order, because for the community enhancement task force meeting, the fire department has put together about a 10-minute video kind of justifying the 4th station, its proposed location, how that affects our responses. We do a lot of our decision making based off of data at this point. We're doing a lot of internal processes in order to cultivate data, put it out there in a format that is palatable and is peer reviewed through other outside organizations, and we're driving our decisions based off of that. And one of the main points that we're going to drive home in terms of justifying a 4th station is currently Station 1 handles almost 60% of the call volume for the city. So 57% is the call volume that Station 1 handles. And it really showcases, obviously, the problem that we're having. And when you talk about a 4th station, not only does it provide a better service for the community, but then you talk about employee retention, health, and wellness. I don't think it's an aspect that we look at. The additional workforce actually alleviates a burden off of a crew that is being run pretty consistently, right? Is that we get to relocate our response zones, redistribute the workload. It opens up opportunities for us to put other people's time into projects elsewhere, otherwise they didn't have the capability of doing because they're consistently running calls. One of the problems, or not problems, one of the reoccurring themes with the turnover that we've had is that we're constantly training probationary employees, and that takes up a large amount of our time. Other tasks suffer because we're doing the same work that we've always been doing. The city has grown, more fire prevention inspections, the city has grown, more call volume, so on and so forth, the same staff, same expectations, except you're managing at a larger scale. So,
You know, I didn't think about this question until you were discussing that. Do you rotate the staff through the stations? Everyone gets a turn at the big suite hotel over here?
yeah, for sure. So each station has its own kind of highlights as to what it accomplishes, right?
Sure.
Station 3 is our headquarters station. So I can tie into what Liz was talking about earlier in terms of the time clock software that the fire department is. We're currently in the implementation phases. We're not quite as far as PD. And that goes directly to the Station 3's responsibility. The captain there is staffing. Staffing via phone call, text can take somebody projecting out vacation and filling those vacancies for a couple weeks in advance can take person the entire business day. You know, you automate that stuff and you take that burden off of them, you know, on top of them running calls, doing inspections, so on and so forth. That's where we're trying to improve quality of life right now. But Station 3 is a big administrative heavy in terms of staffing. Station 1, like I just mentioned, they run a lot of the calls. They run the majority of the calls. Station 2 is probably the slowest, or it's not probably, it is the slowest station that we have, but there are other things that they respond to in terms of their proximity to major arteries, allowing them to do mutual aid assignments a lot quicker because they can get to other surrounding cities much faster. So each station has its unique personality, and
Yeah, you were bringing up wellness, and I thought, you know, the rotation, I think goes nicely to that as well. It breaks up the monotony sometimes of.
generally about 6 months per station.
Oh.
And then the 6-month rotation allows them to get to the stations at different points of the year. So they're not, we used to do 4 months, but you'd show up at the station at the same time every year. So
No, it makes sense.
yeah, we do station rotations. That's how we handle it. Other agencies do station bidding, but we prefer right now to just do rotations.
Well, perfect. Thank you very much. So do you want to?
It's about 10 to 4.
Let's take a 10-minute break. Just and then we'll get back on the final hour, and this is where we'll start doing the budget stuff. There.
Well, we haven't, did we finish touching on the goals? You skipped from beautification into roundtable.
I'll miss it. I skipped from beautification.
Because they were asking what the definition was, and we were gonna define what each topic was that we were. And then you started asking them what they wanted.
Okay.
What we think we can achieve within the
Yeah.
next.
Okay, so we'll come back and.
Yeah.
And we'll finish up the topics and then we can go.
Yeah, 4:00. the thought here from this point, with the time that we have remaining, is to group what we have up here on these, so into those goals. Just looking at, I think that we'll be able to achieve 6 complete goals with what's up there and fit the others into those goals as we move forward, which will be the objective one for that. And then the with time remaining, I think that we'll try to work out a budgetary issue in regards to special events. And then I think we have that would be the time that we would have here. So, city manager, or
Well, I could help if you like.
please, please.
I'm not gonna write it, so can we put that thing over on the wall?
Oh, you're right.
Sorry, Chief, they can repeat your order.
We were just talking about that.
Let's get more balloons in for fun. Let's go.
Hey, I meant the phone.
So-
On the vine side.
If we're looking at goals and objectives, we're really trying to get down to 5, maybe 6 that we could focus on for the next 12 to 18 months. Which means that some of these may not be included in the list that are our priorities from council. But I think a lot of these can be combined. So we look at the first one, like city beautification. We can call it whatever we want to call it. But we know that certain things are going to have to fall under the same thing. So code enforcement was mentioned as well. So beautification, code enforcement, that can kind of fall under one category. Do we agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Did you get that? Code enforcement / beautification. So we have economic development, and we talk about.
That would be another one if you bring.
I would start that as number 2. And that would. Do we have another one?
Yes, there's some.
Okay. Sorry, I'm walking around here for a second. Thank you, sir. So as we go over these, I'll check them off. So when we talk about economic development, down here we have city growth. I think that all falls into the same thing.
Generate revenue.
Generate revenue falls under economic development as well.
Correct.
Okay. I guess I should have done these numbers instead of just check marks. So let's say 2, 2, 2, 1, and 1. Infrastructure, keeping up to date for future development and growth of the city. Would you say that's economic development, or is that more maintenance in your mind?
That's economic, isn't that their department, economic development?
Well, so it's keeping the infrastructure up to date, but also being able to provide for future growth. was what
City
was
growth would be,
That's economic development, so we can
Well,
leave
that
this
would be-
tucked in here then?
yeah, right.
All right, so, we say this is number 2 still? And then we talk about cooling stations, homeless issues.
I think homeless issues would fall under beautification as well, wouldn't it?
I think it should be its own category.
Yes.
What, homeless?
I
Because it's pretty,
believe,
yeah.
I believe that, I agree. It's gonna be huge, it's gonna take a big collaborative effort to tackle that.
I will respectfully disagree that it is part of the whole. I mean, it has its own component, is to help with the homelessness. However, it is part of the maintenance and beautification of our city, wouldn't it?
Well, it could be, but when you're looking at it, as far as the beautification point, you have to be able to address the need that they have to take them off, and that's where the collaboration off the streets, and that's where the collaboration comes in with our nonprofits and other entities within the county to work with them.
Now, is homelessness our responsibility?
homelessness is a,
So we have to work federal, state, local,
yes.
and county.
No, I'm saying, is it our obligation to ensure that we take care of homeless issues?
It's our obligation to ensure that those individuals that are residents of our city that may have a need that we can meet, that we address it, at least.
Absolutely, that's all of our residents, and we're doing that, so,
Right.
okay.
Yes, in a word, in a word, yes. Because if we don't deal with it, no one else is. No one else is gonna do this. We can work, it's a big collaborative effort, we're gonna work with nonprofits and other things, law enforcement, but if we don't do it, it's not gonna happen.
That's right.
It will
And
never happen.
that's why we have that, well, we have that.
So rather than recreating some of these, how about if we look at what we have in existence and see, because I think some of it will fall into that. And you could tell me if you think that this will work. So for example, homelessness would fall under our current plan, community health, safety and welfare. Can we agree that that might be one? Community health, safety and welfare?
Yeah, I mean, if it's under that topic, I just don't want it. I don't believe that if it gets lumped into beautification and other things, that it'll be addressed, it'll be kicked down the line. I think it needs to be a main topic on it.
So if you look at the packet from our current one, on page 2, if you open it up, we have the different headings, and it covers beautification, engagement, and civic pride.
Right.
It also covers quality of life in terms of community health, safety, and welfare.
So would that be the idea with all of these, is to move them into already preset?
It makes it pretty easy, and then we just need to identify what the deliverables for each of these sections look like.
Okay.
Thank you.
So does that, why don't we do that? Why don't we? I'll
Put
make
them
the
in
numbers
all
up here,
these,
but why don't we
that'll
use
make
these?
sense.
Yeah, and then that way we can just do what we, like I
Yes.
said, the shelters.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause we
So
gotta push
homelessness
them
is gonna go
budgets.
to community health. But I wasn't all right. Cooling stations would then fall under the same thing, community health, safety, welfare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Hiring more staff.
Employee wellness.
It
Will
doesn't
that
have
fall
that.
under financial and governance?
Yes,
stability,
yeah.
sustainability,
Financial,
along
yeah.
with employee wellness? You want it to be on its own?
Financial.
No, underneath there, because we want to stick with these categories, correct?
Well, I'm asking, I'm not giving direction, I'm asking for input, you guys can change. the
Yes,
category.
put it under the financial.
I say financial.
No, it's not.
It's not what? Which one, Marty?
Economic development, I guess we need that to get the.
Well, we need the financial to get to economic.
Yes, right.
Stability.
There's too many in that category. already.
I know, I know.
Um,
Everything takes finances.
And again, we don't have to stick to these, if you guys wanna reword these, we can.
No, let's keep
No,
going.
just keep going.
Yeah,
That way we
let's
could
keep
just
going.
get to the topic of what we want, to make.
So if we're sticking with these, then events would be under recreation, lifelong learning.
Yes. This is a better way of doing it.
Yeah. And then number,
Is
let's
it?
get to what we want to say.
Yeah. Like that.
Number 9 we have up here is stronger foundation.
That was employees.
That was for the, that was being able for,
So that's-
to have the employees, more employees.
So that's
So that we can-
economic,
So financial governance and stability and
Yeah.
sustainability.
oh, financial.
Yeah, because we need money to get.
Everything take money.
You know what, I also take that as sustainability of infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys came up with these, I just.
Yes.
Recreation, kind of self-explanatory, falls within a rec as well.
Yeah.
Recreation, lifelong learning, employee wellness,
That's
Under-
economic.
under 1,
The financial.
Which one's that?
employee wellness. I don't know that it falls under financial and
No,
governance.
I don't
No.
think so either.
I think it goes under the economic opportunity. Because employee wellness.
How about community, safety and welfare? Oh, but that's community, right? That's
It's,
safe.
it's because this wasn't meant to be an internal document. It was forward facing to the community. So we didn't include any of our internal
Then again, I'll bring
things.
it back to council.
Yeah.
We're doing this wrong, then by using these headings.
No, but I think you just need a new category for everything internal, like internal
So
processes.
how about if we make employee wellness an additional category here?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of conversation about what
Yeah.
that looks like.
Mhm.
So this, we're
Burnout.
just gonna say this is a new category.
Okay. Good.
So public safety, community health, safety and welfare.
Public safety, isn't that, yeah, safety and welfare.
We said city growth with
Finance.
economic opportunity.
Yeah.
Economic, yeah.
Then city physical health, short and long term. Maybe financial and governance, stability, sustainability,
Fiscal,
fiscal.
fiscal.
Oh. Okay. So then really we have everything here in these categories with the addition now of employee wellness.
Right.
Which is a new category based on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that
brings
worked
us to
out good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Mhm.
I guess I got 6.
So we added 7. So you have 6 on this paper here, and we added 7. Did we leave anything off on this paper? Economic opportunity? I think, no, we had stuff on there.
Number 13 is that.
Okay. City beautification, we can cover that. Recreation, lifelong learning, community health, safety and welfare, environmental sustainability and infrastructure, and then financial and governance ability and sustainability. Does that work for everybody? Because, again, I want to take direction from you. I don't want to give direction.
Mhm. Yes.
That's fine.
We can combine from the 3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Move forward, yeah, we're good.
We've spoken up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, except for, which one did I say that could also go under strong foundation, I think could also go for the infrastructure as well.
All under environmental sustainability and infrastructure.
It doesn't really matter. If it's on there, it's on there.
Yeah.
We can fill it.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, what would you like to do next?
Go home.
Don't we have another meeting after that?
Yes. So,
Should be relatively short for that.
So I think the main objective here was to get to this point, which is a whole heck of a lot further than we were in that first
Yes.
meeting.
Right.
So with this, now, as we continue to carve away, I want to leave time for that one category that we were discussing as far as for special events. But I don't think that we can open up another round of anything with the time we have remaining.
We do have a little bit of time.
Huh?
We do have some limited time.
Yeah.
We have time to talk through some of this. We have 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Would you like me to go to the next topic?
Sure.
Just briefly. So one of the things that's listed on here is I'll sit down so the microphones will work. Sorry. Is the recreational aspect of what the city offers. While this is not meant to be in any way, shape, or form a budget workshop, I'm going to take a couple minutes and use it as an opportunity to get guidance on how we shape our budget moving forward in this particular realm. And that is recreational. So we budget about $50,000 to $75,000 a year for 15 key events, roughly. Am I on
Yes.
track with that?
It's a little bit more, where's Liz? Because that's supplies and services, and then we do personnel overtime is another.
Out of a separate budget.
Yes.
Okay. But we plan on 15.
120? 120,000.
So we plan on 15 events out of that roughly. Our key events, such as our Mardi Gras, Christmas parade, children's fair, and things of that nature.
The Christmas tree lighting is the other one that's expensive.
Okay. So, during this current year, we've had a lot of desire from the public and from council to have other events like our ice cream socials. We partnered with the autism group to do a downtown car show that was set up really nice. Unfortunately, the weather just didn't.
Yeah.
The one day it rains, right?
Yeah.
So moving forward, those are cost centers that are not incorporated into our budget. And if council desires to continue that, we just want direction. So when we build the budget out, we can budget accordingly. We don't run over budget. And then we would ask the direction that comes from council is kind of what's going to shape the events moving forward. The other thing that is unique to this budget year is something that Councilmember Ellett brought up and all of you mentioned before is our 250th birthday for the United States and some significant events. If we're looking to do something special for that, we need to identify kind of what that is and a budget for that. We can work out the locations and everything else, in a ad hoc committee or like one of our other committees can sit down and kind of work through that, or council can give direction. But in order to make sure that we bring you one, a sustainable and balanced budget, but also something that meets all of the individual desires brought together collectively and voted on by the board or by the council here, I'm just looking for a little bit of direction, because this is, as you mentioned, a one-time opportunity for us to celebrate the nation and this milestone that will never be repeated. So if council has a desire to do that, we would look and ask for just an idea on a budget and where that money would come from, because it's not something that's available to us readily accessible in terms of we'd have to go to either Measure P funds, depending on what it is, and or reserves to be able to do something on a grander scale.
And what is it right now?
We don't have a budget right now for these events. Again, for the one-offs, right? The ones that we do schedule are your East Egg Hunt. We do the Children's Fair.
What is it?
Sorry. We budget for key events throughout the city every year. But those are like your Easter egg hunt, your children's fair, your Christmas tree lighting, your Christmas parade, things that we've done historically year after year after year. And looking at it, there's been a desire from council, from the public to expand some of these. So I'm just looking for what is the desire of council.
Are the aquatic center events separate?
No, they're all lumped in there. Yeah, so like the floating pumpkin patch, that's included. The 4th of July bash at the aquatic center, that's included.
The Easter egg.
The Easter egg. You guys all go to them, so you know. Yeah.
Yeah, really what it would be like any ice cream socials, downtown events. If we're looking to partner with autism, if we're looking to have any special key events that the council would like to see. But also, again, going back to the 250th anniversary, is that something you want to have a special event for? And then kind of guide me in that direction so we can bring to you in the budget process kind of an idea. Here's what this looks like and here's where it's coming from. Keep in mind, currently we have a request for 18 new positions, and we've already touched on that. And $8 million in capital has been requested by department heads to be able to carry out their job duties and everything else. Those are unbudgeted items. We have to figure out if we're going to fund them, where that comes from. Much like what these events are, they're unfunded items. So we have to figure out and prioritize what council's direction is.
So you're just building out the ask right now?
Correct, just the ask.
And one thing, like for the 4th of July, if we do something for the 4th of July, remember that most of the expenses would happen in this fiscal year, because although the event is in July, we purchase everything May, June to have an event in July. Does that make sense? The sequencing, when you pay for things, you pay for them ahead of time.
So one of the thoughts, at least that I brought up with some of the council, is that although that is the actual time, the 4th of July, Veterans Day is also an opportunity.
Right.
I was looking into first of all, trying to find fireworks or anything of that nature is $50K plus, and they're all booked.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
But I was talking to one of the Chad, who typically runs that, and he could get it for a little bit larger show than normal for 20K. And if we did on veterans, it'd be a whole lot nicer outside for all of our community to enjoy that. And they're readily available.
And we're not competing with the drone show.
A drone show or anything else.
On
Right.
behalf
I was
of the
just
team,
gonna
thank
ask
you
that.
if that were to work out because the weather's deadly.
Yeah, well, you know,
It
and
is
then
the setup. The night is great, but it's the setup. That's
fireworks, we
really tough.
only have 3 real locations, which is IBC, the fairgrounds, and cattle call are typically those for the county. There are, you know, depending on the size of the tube, depends on the spread and the distance needed is what I was being advised.
Yeah.
So a 3-inch tube would require 300 yards and so on. So,
Yeah, we had also considered the mall, just so you know, in the past. That was
and I
one
brought that up
location.
at the mall in July.
No, November, right?
No.
Oh.
No, for November, we'll definitely, that opens up a lot more. Actually, some of these basins would even be sufficient. Or maybe that vacant lot that we may be having sit open over there where the old Mervyn's.
You know,
So-
so,
Yes.
and let me ask along those lines, you know, because Central and Southwest, they both do fireworks during their graduation ceremonies.
Yes, they do.
Okay, so, I mean, how are they able to do it? I mean, is it because of-
They are, and they're doing the 2.5-inch tubes, so that they're doing the smaller fireworks.
Oh,
But
okay.
they're plenty good for everyone.
They
but-
don't go as high, it's a smaller audience.
But what I'd like to know is if you said that we earmarked $120,000 for approximately 15 events, with the main events being Mardi Gras, the Christmas parade, Christmas tree lighting, children's fair.
That was what
And
was
Easter.
budgeted less overtime in the prior years. I do have here, I don't know, it's been
Yes, go ahead.
updated, the Gustavo's budget request. So it will need, in total, it says it's gonna be 24 special events for 2027, and he listed.
Wait, I want to make sure that we clarify. So this is, if we were to be asked to do this, what we did this year and replicate that, it would be that amount, right? But my hope is that we reduce how many, because it's unsustainable with the staff that we have to do it repeatedly. But if we were to replicate it, it would be the amount.
And I know for myself, we can say that, or at least I could say that we don't want to duplicate. We could see, you know, those market nights we had were at the request of Downtown, Association. And I know that because of, there was just a number of things that didn't contribute to its success. And I would probably say the tiring of staff, lack of advertisement or proper advertisement and so forth. So those were things done to show a good faith effort to our downtown that we were making an effort to listen and try to bring something. But unfortunately, I don't think that was something that would be able to be sustained on an ongoing. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and those were identified there.
Yeah, and we talked
That's
about
on- that's
maybe
on the
doing
list also.
quarterly.
Yeah, that was,
or maybe
we
That
did,
was like 6.
yes, and
Six
those were
downtown
identified on
events,
there.
yeah.
And I even wanted to see, we'd been trying to meet to council the last 2, but haven't been able to in order to save, but they kept going even though we were asking to meet and say, we don't want to have them. And so with that being said, it was looking at to consolidate it with what was a larger scale ice cream social.
Okay, which is what
And
we
have
did
them
for this
today.
next one
Yeah.
in May. It's a combined
Yeah.
ice cream social.
So at least this point, I'd like to suggest just canceling those.
Okay.
Those nights and then being able to just concentrate more on the vendor participation on the ice cream social nights, whatever nights those are going
So,
to be.
and that's kind of where I'm looking for direction because the ice cream social events are not part of our normal budget. So what direction?
Yeah, and you know, and just as an ask, you know, because we do all sit on different committees and so on, and when you decide that you're going to do, that you would like to do something, it would be nice and considerate to bring it back to the rest of the council so that we are all aware.
Of course.
You know, and because, you know, it does pull on city resources, okay? And, you know, we are responsible stewards of the, you know, the fiscal condition of the city. And that's why, you know, so that we are, so that when we are having an event and it's advertised, it doesn't catch us by surprise. Okay, because that's what happened with the ice cream social and the downtown market days. Okay.
And I think that was just probably a miscommunication, because I thought our city manager or the department head would let you know, because we all were there together doing that.
No,
So-
no, it should come back because you're the two of you are part of the ad hoc, the downtown ad hoc committee. You know, it's just like, you know, when we're on the community enhancement task force committee, you know, we discuss something, or even the community foundation, we discuss something, but we bring it back to council, you know, for approval. Okay, so that's all we ask, is that you take that into consideration before you move forward with anything, bring it back to council.
Yeah, that's what we discussed to do.
So I would like a couple of clarifying things before I can give you, you know, before I can put input for direction and with the rest of the council. It would be helpful to identify the majors that we use, and each cost. Mardi Gras costs us 18,000. Does the Christmas on average, and then we add, you know, we'll round up.
Well, I do have here for example, the ice cream social, Gustavo listed as $22,000, including supplies and services plus personnel overtime.
Okay, so is that one ice cream social?
Yeah, 15 plus 7, yes.
15 plus 7.
What?
15 plus 7. $7,000 on supplies and services, $15,000 on salary cost.
So 22 for an ice cream social.
Yeah.
Okay. What is Mardi Gras? Do we know?
Mardi Gras, yes. Mardi Gras. You want to go, Adriana?
You know what? Let's start from the beginning of the fiscal year, because we can, the most
Yeah.
expensive ones, you know, starting in
Yeah,
in
I'm just trying to
September.
get a sum.
Yeah,
but
so El Grito is 25 plus 20.
Which
So it's 45. El Grito, if you consider doing it the following fiscal year, that's
the one we didn't
of our
do this-
most
this
expensive.
year?
Was it, Adriana?
El Grito, that's our Mexican
much is
independent, it's 45,000.
4 or 5?
Yes.
Okay.
45.
25 to 40.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Next.
25 in supplies and services and 20 in
25 and 20.
in personnel.
And that's why
Yes.
we waived that one, so that way there wouldn't be, it wouldn't negate
Yes.
itself with the other.
Yes, yes.
Right, but we didn't, I mean, we need to be, okay, go ahead, move on.
So we're not gonna do all of them, right? You just wanted the most expensive ones?
I want to know what the cost is. Yeah. The ones that we normally do every year.
Oh, there's
quite a
yeah, I
few.
think I could just show you email you the tape. There's so many.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's-
You're gonna go through 25 events listed.
So with El Garrido, or
Yeah.
Garrido,
Hell, that's pretty close.
okay, what is the total then? If-
45,000.
What's that?
45,000.
No, I mean, you said there's a whole laundry
Oh,
list
yeah,
of them.
there,
For all
it's
25 events?
225,000
225.
in supplies and services, and then salaries, 152,600. If we were to do the same thing this next fiscal year.
What was the salaries again?
163.
160.
Oh, 153.
150 what?
I'll say this one more time, okay? Supplies and services, 225,000. And salaries, 152,600.
So that's 377.
87,000.
That's not including the
Right,
market because we're not doing it,
No,
right?
no, that doesn't include markets.
Okay.
So
And then it
that's-
would be 22,000 for an ice cream social, or
Yes.
that's included.
That's included. Ice cream social is included. Market cases are not included.
Okay.
And how many ice cream socials were in that?
Let me
Two.
see.
Two, I think that's two, no, Leona?
2.
Yes, two.
Yes.
And then
We have
and
one
then the
on
market days, how much?
September and another one in May.
Well, I'm not, the market days, I think like you were talking about,
Have happened that were not part of the-
piggybacking will make a bigger event and allow for partnership. We'll go ahead and do our ice cream social and invite them in during that time to do a market day. And we'll have those services out there and we won't be duplicating dates. But on top of 377, if we were to do 2 ice cream socials, did that include market days?
No.
Okay, so that was just something, okay. So then we need to come up with a possible dollar amount for the Veterans Day.
Let me ask, Does this include the autism event?
No,
Partner with
No.
it?
no,
I know they
because
had it-
that's a
they did it
private
for us.
event.
They what?
But it was costly.
Oh, yeah.
How much did we pay for autism?
What
I
did
don't
we
have
pay
that
for?
dollar amount.
Staffing, services.
Yeah.
We provided restrooms, barricades.
Traffic control.
Traffic control.
Is that, have we done that every year?
It was
No.
the first year.
No, that was
Last year. It was in
And it rained bull,
A
it was
generator?
just rain, cats and dogs, yeah.
a generator.
Yeah, and all park
Mhm.
staff worked that day. Yeah, Public Works worked.
Yeah.
PD worked.
PD work.
The flyer had a rig there as well.
The main, the Rain on Main event, is that part of the ice cream social?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the ice cream social.
So if 377, and let's say we wanted to not do anything other than, and maybe add a ice cream social, giving it 3 for the summer, or do we just stick with 2?
Well, because they're talking about partnering with the,
Whatever we do, whoever wants to partner can come in. If it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them.
because they're talking about partnering with the autism and the ice cream social, partnering with, these are just suggestions that we were saying, or that I heard.
I think when we partner though, I think we still we still pay for it. You know, they partner in helping promote and doing
Yeah.
other activities and programming, but the actual cost, anytime we partnered, the city has paid
Paid for it.
for the staffing and the supplies.
Mhm.
So partnerships are mostly in terms of marketing and programming, but they don't bring additional funds to
Yeah, okay, no problem.
So if we were to do the 377, and let's say we decided that veterans was going to be a $50,000 endeavor, probably even a little bit more. I mean, we're getting up into that 450 mark, which is, do we budget that 377?
Not yet.
No, that was a request.
What was the budget the prior year?
The prior year.
We didn't know we were going to discuss this in
Yeah.
this detail,
No, I-
so
I-
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know that we would discuss. Let me open my.
This might be just something to,
make sure you just add the 2 accounts, the
Yeah,
299 and the
The 265.
uh-huh.
and what we're saying is that because that one event got nicked out of it, it didn't take it over the budget.
Because that was 45,000.
Mhm.
We'll cover a lot of it.
Yeah.
There was about an $8,000 shortfall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anything actually that went over on that was with the autism. It was the autism that took us over because we took out the grito to be able to exchange for the other events. So it was only when autism said they wanted to partner with El Centro to begin a yearly fundraiser for themselves and a car show. That is where it went over. It was because of the autism. It wasn't because of the other stuff, because we had canceled the $45,000 one in order to save the budget.
And he's already asking about the
Yeah, he is
autism.
asking, and
Well-
Adriana, I was gonna ask, with the downtown project, there's 70,000 for events included for downtown.
Special events.
So that would be in addition to what you guys,
Yes, we added, I need to bring that budget, but it was 70. I
70.
can't remember the other events that we had added.
yeah. So I believe it stated that there was an additional $70,000.
For supplies and services, we budgeted $120,000. And for personnel time, we budgeted 45,600.
That was the previous year.
That's the previous, the current year, 2026, that's what we budgeted for this
We've added
current year.
$200,000.
Yeah, 200,000.
Mhm.
That's what we
Because
put in the budget.
before, we hadn't given the code to public safety for the overtime, and then once we gave them a code.
But what
Yes,
we-
you do.
what we
You have a code too,
usually,
but they're way more
the
expensive.
overtime, this year we put 45,000, but what we usually expend is 60, at least 66,000. So this is, the year's not in yet.
Yeah.
And we just have $5,000 in the account.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah. When we rate
six.
other accounts, that's
Yeah.
when we.
I'm not sure this is the best way of budgeting this thing.
Is that 70,000 just for that area, right, Adriana?
Yes.
Is that 70,000 separate of this 120?
Yes.
Yes. Not included.
So we could.
Why
use
is that?
Because it's part of the grant, but we could take that
Oh,
70,000 for
So
these
for example,
downtown,
we
the
can
ice cream
use-
social.
We could use either for the ice cream social
Oh, this is part of
or for Mardi Gras. We host it again at the same location. That's another opportunity.
I think.
But this
Sylvia
is
was
one-time
saying that
money
there
that's
was-
part of that
Just
grant.
one time,
You were
yes.
saying that they weren't happy with, the vendors weren't happy with the downtown Mardi Gras location?
No, the food vendors were not happy being inside that small confined space because
Right.
they were not visible.
Right. The vacant lot.
Some of the ones who complained also sold out.
Well,
So
people will be.
Gene, I'll specifically say his name.
Well, that could suck up some of that. So if we did,
That would be 70,000 off of that.
yeah, but it's already, so we have a total of 165,000, 45 in operations, and then supplies and services.
Maybe we do one ice cream social. to do
So keep in
that.
mind that the numbers she's giving you for the 15 events roughly, the initial numbers we started with the 225 plus 153 were for 25 events.
It boggles my mind to think that we would use this as a baseline, knowing that we're going to blow this completely out of the water. That I don't know how 15 events fits that when we're 200,000 over last time.
It's just because in 2025, that's what we expend to 120, but we didn't do as much as events as this year.
This is the year
It
that
was-
we've
it was
done the
because of
most
the
events
add-ons,
ever.
Mike.
What's that?
It was because of the add-ons.
But
Okay.
remember the add-ons, Sylvia, were negated when we canceled the,
And that was
The
another
three-
thing that wasn't consulted with.
well, I mean, as a senior council member, you could have told us that there was an issue before.
Well, we'll move on from that one. I'm trying to get to a number that we can use that is going to realistically cover the request and keep the request realistic for our workforce.
So without the 70,000, what are we looking at?
Last year, remember we paid the,
366, so
for Mardi Gras.
probably just under
We were
three.
charged, we paid from another account.
But this is
Yes,
also an
we
event
use
that's
other
once a
accounts' budgets.
No, I'm adding that, the veterans thing. so.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Kelly.
I mean,
Adriana, was there anything else that we were considering, like dropping or exchanging, like the Grito or something else, and the
You
Thursday
guys-
nights downtown? Anything else that you're considering,
In terms,
thinking of,
in terms of like the most expensive events.
or the least attended? We know the least popular type of thing.
Those were the market nights. that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
canceled.
Yes,
we're
and you
we're
already
dropping that.
are already reducing
so
that.
El Garito was unpopular.
Oh, no.
Oh,
El
no.
Grito is the most popular.
Huge.
Okay, so well, what I'm saying is,
So-
from a community standpoint, what does our not what we're trying, what does our community would like to go to? What these other events, what would be their priority? That might even be a better one. What would be their priority that they would want to attend? And obviously keeping it separate. We're hoping to do a celebration for the 250th on veterans. That is a city
Yes.
hope to do. But if the Christmas parade, the tree lighting, Mardi Gras, Children's Fair, El Garito, and then the other little scattered ones in between, I mean, we're looking at $400,000 if we're going to throw, and then maybe 50 on the thing. So if you want, we can always scale down. But now it's to determine that we only had 166, so now we're talking almost 300,000 that has to come from Magic Land into,
Which is why I brought that.
no,
Just to get guidance.
Well, in here, they're not including the ones for like at the library. We give the library their
A separate
own
budget.
budget for the events that for this year, I request them just to list all of them and get a cost because they want you to do 2 or 3 of some of them. And they say, well, we need an authorization and we need to get a cost of each event to see, and then be probably, as you said, how many the attendees for each event. So just to take, because the library budget that comes from the general fund and it's also big. Not as big as this one, but.
Well, I will say we bring in a lot of revenues though from
Well, yeah,
different.
for years.
Yeah.
For years,
They're not,
yes.
they're not, so our department, we do charge for a good chunk of things. Yeah.
Yeah, think something that we don't do in the library, but because of the nature, so, yeah.
so I just so we can kind of put this thing down is that we find a number that we can live with. We'll find a resource that we can put on it, and then we live with it. We scale down if need be in priority of how we're going to do it. If we run out of money, we run out of money. We can't do this one or we can't do that one. So we can put a number on it and we can say, hey, Measure P will cover this amount and the rest comes out of the general fund budget. And then the other 70 comes out of the grant for anything that might be associated with that downtown, that part. If that would be practical, and then that's the number.
So if you're looking at the 24 events that we mentioned, which include a couple of the ice cream socials, which were well attended. Not as attended as the bigger events, but they're well attended.
Okay.
And you're looking at approximately 50,000 for a 250th celebration. You're at 425,000. And if you're thinking it's going to go more, I would say you need to look at 450 then to cover everything.
Well, no, and that's the problem. I think if we need to, it's going to go more, we scale back and we say, these are items 1 through 18. If we start blowing money or the money start going faster, items 18, 17, and 16 are next. We need to stay within the budgetary that
So you'd be at 425 with the 50,000 for the 250th.
And that's combination operation, supplies, the whole thing.
Just to clarify, all the special events are paid with Measure P.
Yeah, but remember, not personnel.
Not personnel. No,
Not personnel, just supplies and services.
So that's why it's broken up.
Yes, because
It's
Measure
already
P, we had previously had an unwritten rule that we're not using Measure P towards personnel, that we're only using it towards supplies and service.
Good to know.
Okay.
So could we name what events we have that are going to go forward? Do we know already?
We have a list, do you want to?
Yeah, we could just know right now. So
Well, it's tentative because the budget has to be approved.
I know, but tentative, but for that will
we
be
can
for
send
the
that out to you.
425.
Yeah, can we see that out to them?
To you, I said, I just wanted to.
Okay.
Well, could we just have a quick read off, just so we know where we're at with that 425 and what the
I was trying to figure out why you had them separated.
So in the list that you're gonna see, this is-
Personal overtime comes from general funds, but we have a specific fund to account for it, so we know exactly how much we expend just for overtime for special events, so we can account for it. And then the supplies and services, we pay through Measure P. We funded the funding source is Measure P for supplies and services. And we do have a specific object or account, so we can just have that separate for the rest of the budget.
But it's not an open account. I mean, you guys have a number that you'll stay with
Oh,
in
yeah, we
Measure
have a-
P.
yeah.
Okay.
So the events as proposed are the 4th of July to be determined, which would be your 250, which can move to November.
Oh, yeah, because we're not doing a 4th
But,
of July.
well, there's a swim,
Yeah.
there's an aquatic event.
That's part of
yes,
it's in there.
that one we still
That
included.
one's still on here. That's the next
Okay.
one on here. It's the
All right.
pool party.
Right.
El Grito, Flavors Without Borders, the Ice Cream Social, Fire Station Open House, Senior Appreciation Day, Floating Pumpkin Patch, Trunk or Treat, Dia de los Muertos, Slam Fest, Christmas Tree Lighting, Christmas Parade, Mardi Gras Coronation, Mardi Gras Street Parade, Vietnam, what is that one?
Yeah,
Oh, the Vietnam.
VF Day, we go out and
Okay. Easter egg hunt, the floating hunt, children's fair, another ice cream social, and a summer kickoff pool party. That's what's included in the 425,000.
Okay, so I agreed those on there.
Yes.
And then,
The 4th of July event that'll be in November.
the 4th of July.
I'm gonna forward it to all of you. right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the Dia de los Muertos.
Yes, it's included
It's
there.
usually at the old post office pavilion.
Yeah.
Did we have that last year?
This
Mhm.
one is we don't have to count it because it's at the town square and we can use the funding for the downtown.
And how about the coronation? How much does that cost, the Mardi
The
Gras?
coronation is not that expensive. It's about 4,300.
It's like at home, man. You wore me down.
I mean, the egg hunt at Buckland, I mean, that's an expensive event that we could, if you guys want to reduce costs, that's an event we could.
Is that mostly staff?
No, eggs are expensive. We did
Oh, really?
12,000 eggs. It's
I
a
know.
lot
It's
of
a
eggs.
really good event. We just asked them
Well,
to-
this is the hard part. They're
all
generally
really good
pretty
events.
well
Uh-huh.
done.
Yeah.
How about Slam Fest?
My
That
thing
one-
is that
That event, we pay for it using our skate park account. We don't use Measure P, but we listed it as one of the events. And you
But
can
it's
see
not
them.
here?
No, it's
Yeah,
listed
it's
here,
on
but
the
it's.
skate park. I attend every year.
It's just listed just because we posted, but it's the same
Yes.
amount, dollar amount.
And I don't know if they have access to the list, Robert.
I just emailed it.
it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
unfortunate, but I
Thank
think maybe not even a priority. The things that are at the end of the year are the ones that could be because of where the budget is. Or we find that we have, enough to get it across the line because they're all worthy events. But at the same time, if we're looking at trying to work within a framework of a budget, I mean, we need to be very mindful that the dollar amounts, we're trying to do as much as we can. You would have to break that up into the Measure P again and then general fund. So
If we, I know you say you want to do it, but the ice cream social, we have two and the cost is 22,000. So if we eliminate those, as we have 44,000 that we can easily use for the event to the other new event.
Which one?
did you add
For
the
For the
veterans.
250th? Did you add the 50 and the
Veterans
Added
425?
425. For the-
Added 50,000 for the
He had the
But the
50 and then
community,
the 4.
they-
425.
They like the ice cream social with the fire trucks. They love that one. So I don't,
I do agree with that.
yeah, I don't.
But it's a good call. Thank you.
And plus we have
Just
that.
because that was a.
Hey,
it was-
this
And
is the
that's-
money person.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
she
But we
can
could
tell us-
use that, but we could still go back to the grant, right, and use those 70,000 to.
Yeah, I think what we can do is retool it with the grant and give you guys a new number.
Mhm.
And it, honestly, the takeaway is you kind of don't want to remove anything, right? That's kind of my general understanding.
Well, the list only has if the veteran thing is gonna be, unless we do it yearly, will be
Just a
added
one-time
on.
cost.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the Measure P is also, I know it's for improvements and so forth, but it's also the residents are paying it, and they're the
Well,
ones that are asking.
It was
for
part
events.
of that was the information.
Right.
The special events category is eligible under the Measure P messaging. We completely agree, and that's why Liz has, and council has previously supported it. So we agree that we think it's a good use of funds. It's just increasing it for next fiscal year.
I agree. It's a
the-
great use of funds. It's just not 3 times the increase in funds to.
Probably it's also because the attendees is increasing for the events becoming better and better every time, so more people come to our events. So it's also part of that. Why now if there's $12,000,
So
I mean 12,000 eggs in the Buckley
It-
cart
it-
when we started with half of it.
No, 10. We
10.
started with 10. We
It-
thought that was a lot.
Uh-huh.
if I may, if we use the benchmark of 425 with the idea that maybe 70 will be pulled out of that to cover maybe the ice cream socials or the Mardi Gras, then it's going to drop down, and then we'll use whatever benchmark that we have, and then we'll go measure PE to pick up how that works. Is that,
You're giving us marching orders, I think we're good
What?
now.
well, before I do, I want to talk and make sure everyone else is on board.
Well, I'm wondering, why can't we solicit sponsorship for something special like the 250th?
Well, we can, and we can always put the money back, but we need to budget it
Right.
to start.
In concept and expense, even in sponsorship, we're gonna be holding at least 90 to 95% of the cost. Because if we can get sponsorships of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, but if the event costs 50,000 or 100,000, it's a lot of work. And one thing that we want to look at, and I'll speak for our public works staff, and going back to the staff discussion, we're adding averaging at least 2 events a month with this list on average. And there's months that we don't have it, so there's months that we have 3 or 4 events. Our staff is extremely exhausted at times because there's no new staff being added. There's events and events and events, and there's more overtime, but they have to sleep.
So a little bit on that same related note, when we close streets, we do an encroachment permit. Abraham's staff reviews the encroachment permit, does a map on how we're going to close streets, and then his street staff goes and closes those streets. The event happens, and then his staff again go and open streets. And so that's where we talk about the manpower required to carry some of the activities.
So let me ask you
the weeds grow.
The weeds grow in the streets.
And I think that's where, that's the circle that we can talk
But
about.
let me ask you from a staff's point of view, then, are all these feasible based on your manpower concerns?
We're stretched right now.
I'm asking you if you need to recommend that some of these are not, I know that you want to.
They're huge, popular events, and we want to support the community.
Correct.
And it's a testament really to, if you all remember, maybe 8-10 years ago, how many events did we have a year? How many do we have now? Right. So staff has been responsive, and Adriana and the team have been amazing in creating
And Emilio,
events.
and so over there, he does all our marketing, and it's a lot of work.
We got Emilio in, so there's a huge improvement in special events, and number of events, and community participation and attendance has grown and grown and grown. So we're at that breaking point right now where we can probably sustain it right now. If we add more events, I would ask, please swap something out.
So we're doing that. I mean, we're not adding on market days and stuff like that. But what I am saying is, look, this is that kicking the can down the road that we're trying to do with the same amount of people. And and we don't want to run our people to the ground. So if this is a doable amount and we can do it, and we find the funding, and we don't go beyond what we just brought up, and you guys are comfortable with that, we can move forward. If you guys do have a concern about the manpower or the concern with the well-being of our employees, that needs to be directed so we can scale this back.
Yeah. For example, for the Veterans Day, if we had the fireworks, where would we host that?
On Veterans Day.
No, I understand on Veterans Day.
I
But
think
where?
you had said like the mall. The mall.
Oh, where?
Yes,
Yeah.
and the only reason why we ask is because the traffic control will be based on location. So
I think also in along those lines and timing on the events, just if Christmas parade and tree lighting are back to back, so they're very
Can
taxing.
you spread them out?
That's the question, right? So it's so as we're discussing events, if there's
and
gaps.
those we cannot spread them
No.
out
Well,
because
they-
every
they
city
all-
has theirs already
Yeah.
booked, and we all kind of stay to a schedule.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
unspoken, but we know that the Christmas parade is the first week of December.
Yeah.
And that when nobody deviates from that schedule because we would mess up
Somebody else.
Imperial's
Yes.
like
And
parade. And so
Calexico's parade,
we
yeah.
stay to schedule.
And then our Veterans Day, we want to do it that day, but just so, I don't know if we're going to mess up a schedule, but it's going to probably land on mariachi night for a cattle call, but, not everybody goes over there, so it would just be another event that people can attend.
Yeah, I think everything loses its luster if it's not on the day. I'm not gonna celebrate the
Yeah.
4th of July on the 5th.
Veterans Day is gonna be on a Wednesday,
It's
so
an
I don't
11.
think we're gonna do that, right?
Yeah, we are.
Really, a Wednesday?
Yes.
A Wednesday?
Yeah, because it's always celebrated on
Veterans
Veterans
Day,
Day.
the
That-
kids
That's
get
a
all
legal
the-
holiday.
yeah.
and
Veterans Day
everything's
is on
closed.
Veterans Day.
Yeah. Yeah, like Christmas.
It used to be that Monday they would have off
Yes.
for school,
Right.
but
Yeah.
they changed that.
No,
Mhm.
it's now on the date.
It's
Now it's on the day.
Mhm.
Remember, Thanksgiving's on Thursday this year.
Thank you,
And
Marty,
Mike's
for
cooking.
bringing that up.
He's inviting us all over.
Okay. Are you guys in agreement with what we had brought up with the 425 with the 70 and at this point,
Yes,
as a benchmark to budget to
yes.
with
Lieutenant to-
the
uh-huh.
desire of that 70, reducing that from the grant for at least two of those events. So,
No one's downtown. So, and just to clarify, so there wouldn't be the participation of the autism this year.
so I mean, my take on it is I remember when we did autisms in the different cities that we would do something very similar to what we had last council where we would do a certain dollar amount sponsorship, but if an ice cream social is $22,000, I don't think we've given a $22,000 sponsorship to anyone. So I maybe we can waive fees and maybe allow some, but to do all the things that we did, I think that would be extremely, because when we do it for one, when are we not going to do it for the other requests that come through? And it's definitely 100% a worthwhile thing. It's just, I just think that it's something, if we want to get all these
So
other
they need
events
to
in.
fund it, but we
And
would
they-
help.
And keep in mind that they also have their big event, which was just, last Saturday?
That's Saturday.
In Imperial at Eager Park. I mean, that's where it originated. And they've been hosted, City of Imperial is now, it's one of their signature events.
Yes.
Not that I'm not being supportive, okay, but,
Yeah.
you got to keep that in mind.
Well,
So-
it's not something that we brought up, Sylvia, it's that the, James came to the city that he wanted El Centro to have its own signature event for autism. We didn't seek, he came to us and said, I want to
Yeah.
work with El
Yeah,
Centro.
he did.
So we're not like trying to take anything from Imperial. He, sought us out in hopes of making an event like Imperial's. So
that trunk or treat is typically at the park. Is
And
that
Stark Field,
Mhm.
yeah,
start?
Field.
And then I know in Imperial, it was at their parks.
They
And-
copied our event.
Right.
Mhm.
I can
They
say that.
copied it, yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is, this time they wanted to have the car show on the downtown, where it could have been where they did the park, couldn't they?
And they had
He
the
said
cars
that-
at Eager Park. They had them lined up on the
He
street where
said
that didn't
previously
close.
when he's
Yeah.
asked to do them here in El Centro at Buckland Park, that they would have denied him because they wouldn't let the vehicles park in the.
and he said that he wasn't allowed to have his vehicles on the park
Well, we
because
can
of
we
the
can-
grass.
cover
I don't
that.
think he's ever submitted an application. But, yeah,
Okay.
I
So
have not seen an
It
application.
looks like monetarily you have direction.
Yes.
Is anyone else?
For the budget, but we still haven't
The
finished
budget's
our,
still gonna come and be presented. to
Yeah.
council.
No, I understand.
But it's
I understand.
Thank you, 'cause that gives us a-
Robert, a lot on it.
For the record, can you recap just the amount and the?
425,000.
Okay.
For all of the events listed on the email that Liz shared,
Okay.
minus the downtown events. And the only addition to what was budgeted is the 372 or whatever it was the 50,000 for the 250th anniversary.
The last one, sorry, the anniversary?
So yes, what brought it to the 425 from the 373 or 374 is there was a request for 50,000 for the 250th anniversary of the.
50,000.
Yes.
For Veterans Day.
yes.
Adriana, could we have that at Buckland Park?
I'm sorry?
Could we have that at Buckland Park?
The Veterans event?
No, with fireworks, huh?
We
Yeah.
could. The fire trucks, right?
Whatever you want. No. I would say, taking into account the shell sizes and stuff we probably use, there should be sufficient clearance.
How come you went like Station 4?
No, we talked about, yeah. I don't see it.
Well, the reason is I'm at the Veterans Wall, and
Yeah,
so
be nice.
it would be a nice venue, but that could be a discussion for later.
Well, we still have the event, the annual event that we partner with
Yes.
the Vietnam veterans. The U.S. What are they called?
Oh,
VFW
yeah.
9305.
Memorial
Yeah.
Day or?
No, on Veterans
On
Day, there's
Veterans
always
Yes.
that celebration in the morning. We would still have
Oh, that's
that,
right.
right?
They have it the same
Yes.
place at our
Yes.
memorial.
We would,
Yes.
that's, so we don't, because those are so small that we
Right.
only do water and we
Right.
do a request to fire for those.
That only costs $400.
Yes. It's just,
I
yes.
guess you're funny.
Right.
No, it is, those are
I'm okay with that
affordable.
one.
Good to the
Yeah.
veterans.
We
That's
can
great.
repeat that one if you want.
I mean, but you know what? In
Couple
terms
staff.
of showcasing the new side of the wall, I mean, it's just like it could be done then, right?
Sure.
Yes,
Be nice.
that would be
Do you have
great.
anything else on the until we have the sectioning? So is that going to be it for
I
the?
think we need to go into closed session.
Oh, wow. Can I know that we didn't get to, we got to the budget, but we didn't finish our goals. So, on the beautification thing, I just wanted to add, just as an idea, because we still need to talk about it, but just so they hear. Because I had already brought up, or you guys brought up weed abatement, the facade improvement, the bus shelters, and then, the rope lights on palm trees and the mediums from Ocotillo to Ross. When you're coming off of Interstate 8, there's gas stations that have rope lights,
Oh.
almost like Palm Springs. And we have all those palm trees that go down the middle up to Ross. And if we could do the same so it looks uniform, at least when you come out into the city, if we could do that.
So one of the things that we didn't get into, and again, wasn't meant to be a budget workshop, so my apologies, I kind of, Mike.
Mike went to go cry.
One of the things that came out of our downtown ad hoc committee was the request for research on Christmas
Yeah.
and seasonal lighting and everything else.
Mhm.
That was about $350,000.
Yeah, but that's what we asked for compatibles. We asked for,
Yeah, so that request is in the budget, but it was up to you guys. You're gonna have to dip into the reserves
Yeah.
at some point.
Mhm.
Or we're gonna have to agree that the reserves for Measure P are gonna go lower, which could have long-term effects on bond ratings for fire station 4 and so forth. That's a whole other budget conversation.
yeah. But we asked for compatibles, right, to see, because I don't like to just take one quote on stuff. I think it's important that we have at least 2 to 3
Yeah, and
quotes.
I want you guys to know is that when we request quotes, the amounts may go down, but not by much, because
Uh-huh.
most of the stuff just comes
Especially
from
now,
China.
yeah.
They're coming out here, they're installing, so it won't be a huge variation.
Mhm.
Unless you say we're only gonna do a wreath in the front and on both sides, then yeah,
Then
that
that
could
would
be
be
10,000.
It comes
Yeah,
to
because-
scope, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
reduce the scope and the cost will go down.
Yeah, for budget purposes, we usually get one quote because for any equipment, it's whether
About
it's
the same.
Chevy or Ford,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
about the
Okay.
same.
Yeah.
And so then maybe we could reduce that scope and be able to look towards the plants and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
so,
right?
yeah, so let's say that we did, because we called them Christmas lights, but really it was cafe lights
Right.
across all of downtown. So we reduced that would reduce our costs a lot.
That would be good, especially if we're gonna have those events downtown with the new thing.
Just need to be rich.
We're spending more money.
No.
You left the card here.
I reported stolen.
I'll get you a case number.
So then
Thank you. Now what? Did we get that covered?
that one, yeah, and then we'll just figure out another way.
Okay.
We'll just figure out another way to touch on the other topics of what the direction is.
We're gonna have to have
We only
another
talked
meeting.
about beautification.
Another goal setting.
I thought that.
We're gonna have another meeting.
They were gonna talk to the landscapers to see how much more that would be.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
We'll see.
That's why I said it.
All right, well,
Meeting adjourned.
Done. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.